That's alright, Mama. That's alright with you. That's alright, Mama. And just any way you do. That's alright. That's alright. That's alright now, Mama. Any way you do. Come on, now. Can you feel the pain? Into him now. About this new world. Ain't no train. Papa's got a brand new eye. Purple haze in my brain. Lately things just don't seem the same. Acting funny and I don't know why. Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Donut From Me show. Sorry about the power outage last night and internet. Nothing we could do. We tried. We were thinking of how we could come on, and it just didn't work. Olivia sacrificed a chicken to Cthulhu, and it just didn't work, folks. We tried.
No, we even thought, hey, we'll come on because power's back on. It's only blinked a couple of times. All right, we'll try. Internet went out at 6:45
Yeah.
and didn't come back on until, gosh, it came on at like 8 and then went back out. And it
That's
was just a
usually
pain.
what happens. All my years working for Comcast is when power goes out, they go and they fix a line, but then they go ahead and they kill the internet line coming in. They cut it by doing a dig or going up to the pole, and something happens, and the main intake from the node gets severed. The fiber optics get severed, and that's what happened. They finally fixed it around 3 a.m. this morning and got it smooth. It was just kind of intermittent. Anyway, tomorrow, Scott Nugent will be on with Leroy and I at 7 p.m. Can't wait to see it. Tonight's going to be a good show. I am absolutely going to nuke the liberals. Just no gloves, just straight bare knuckle fighting right to the teeth. Fabricating evidence, fabricating emails to imply that Donald Trump's a pedophile. I'm sick of it. I'm just done with them. I'm calling them all out. I'm also going to call out a few of our commentators. You guys saw the video today that I did. We're gonna talk a little bit about that and a whole bunch of other stuff. And by the way, Colorado Avalanche still have only lost one game in regulation, and they are almost 20% through the season. 15-1-5 or 11-1-5. Unreal. Go Avs. See you guys in 3 minutes.
Abs.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news? Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop arguing me. 'Cause I'm everything you want. Damn, show what you need. I won't tell no lies. Back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dog.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me show, otherwise known as The Dumb Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The Dumb Show on social media or thedumbshow.com.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Hey, what's going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. So sorry about last night. Two winners last week on the Don't Unfriend Me jacket. They both won jackets, or one jacket, one jacket, one blanket.
Tamar, but,
okay,
yeah.
Tamar Bush won, and then Mel Lowe won. And did Mel decide what she wants?
Yes.
Okay, so Mel wants to, and we're going to surprise the person, but Mel wants to send it to one of our viewers instead, and she's going to donate it to one of our viewers who needs some help. Also, Mel was like comprising a list of people who may need some help for Thanksgiving, and if anyone is in that position, please let Mel know, Olivia know, myself, and we're going to try to do a little something to help out for Thanksgiving if people are struggling right now. We can't help out everybody, but we've got an idea of who needs some help. And Mel came to us and said, hey, can you do this? So we're just going to fund it. So we're going to do it. With that, the things that we do, and the reason how we can do them is because of your donations. So dumbshow.com/donate. We try to give back as much as we can. And this time of year, it always is difficult for people. So what we do is we raise donations for our show, thedumbshow.com/donate. You can go use a credit card. You can use PayPal, Venmo, any way you want to pay. And what it does is it helps us. It obviously keeps our lights on, keeps the show going, but we also try to give back and help out the community as well. So if you want to, please help us out. Step on over there and go to thedumbshow.com/donate. The goal's right down below here. We do $300 a night. That's what we look for. But remember, this is not just the only thing we do. We've got web pages that we do. We write. We do all sorts of stuff for the show. But our live show is between 7 and 9 p.m. Weeknights. So we're very sorry about last night. We could not operate, but we will be back tomorrow night and Friday as well. So hopefully we can hit donations quick tonight, get that out of the way, because we're already behind the 8 ball from last night, and let's rock and roll.
Before we get started.
Oh yeah.
One thing.
Yeah.
Kevin from Rumble is about to be a grandpa for the 6th time tonight.
Wow.
His grandbaby is on the way.
Congratulations, Kevin. That's
I know.
amazing.
I told him I want pictures and keep us posted on when the baby's born and name and stats and all that fun stuff.
Well,
do you know if it's a boy or girl? That's the first starter.
Yeah, I probably want to know that too.
Yeah. Boy
or girl.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, Kev. Good stuff. Listen. Yeah, I'm going to mention a little bit about Candace Owens tonight. We're also going to talk about the emails as well. Is that birth control?
No, it's heartburn medication. I'm getting old. I need it.
Oh yeah, you look it. So I put together a little list because I keep hearing, oh, Candace Owens, she's such a conservative. Candace Owens is a conservative. No, Candace Owens has been a conservative for about as long as Tulsi Gabbard, a little bit longer. From 2010 to 2016, Candace hated Donald Trump, hated him, despised him, created a website to dox people who supported Donald Trump. This is the person. She wrote blog posts and gave interviews where she called out systemic racism and racial bias in policies. She studied journalism at the University of Rhode Island, planning to go into left-leaning mainstream media was her goal. 2015, she founded the website Social Autopsy, which took people's anonymous comments and linked them to their real-world identity, but doing doxing for hate speech offenders. She framed the site as an anti-harassment accountability project, basically a way of censoring, canceling dissenting voices from the right. Her first moment of scorn. The liberal friends in her journalism circle turned on her and called her site out for what it was, glorified doxing. Her reputation was tarnished forever. And this infuriated Candace and was enough to turn her into a conservative overnight, completely making her views do a 360. Nobody puts Candace in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Literally every view, just gone. All of a sudden, she was defending Trump, criticizing the left, and became one of the most recognizable conservative voices online. All because nobody from her liberal circle agreed with her website or her.
That's a true liberal right there.
Yeah. Score number 2, Candace's conservative voice landed her on the show with the Daily Wire in 2021. Candace made anti-Semitic remarks that clashed with Ben Shapiro, her boss, and this caused obvious tension in the office. Candace, she refused to stop. We recognize a pattern here. Everybody realized that she was toxic, and it started to affect the workplace. In March of 2024, the Daily Wire fired her. And oh boy, did this set Candace off, very similar to her liberal friends. Her entire blame for Israel for everything agenda was because she was fired by a Jew. And she's just super, super scorned at this point. Here's scorn number 3. After Charlie Kirk's assassination, it became obvious that Candace wasn't invited to the funeral or memorial service or to any TPUSA events. It's amazing. They had, like 20 different people host Charlie Kirk's podcast, but not his best friend who is solving his murder, Candace Mason, the attorney at law. Candace did say later that she wasn't invited. This includes speaking at the memorial funeral events. Multiple outlets reported her claim and noted she didn't attend. Her feelings were way hurt because of this. Now she's blamed Trump for Kirk's death, Israel, Egypt, and even Charlie's wife, which we'll prove tonight. Even though Megyn Kelly, who just did a great interview with Barry, and go watch it, but Megyn's on my list. Can I just tell you? We may meet her on the 15th, and I'm going to be really hard-pressed not to say something. You remember she came out and said, well, I don't want to get involved. Mm-hmm. I don't follow this type of stuff. And then she drops a freaking video that she somehow found of Charlie Kirk telling Tucker Carlson during that event when Tucker Carlson came out and basically sounded like Adolf Mussolini, and where Charlie Kirk told him, go Max. Well, we don't know what it's about, but all of a sudden Megyn comes out with this to trash Ben Shapiro. It seems Megyn is starting to flirt with she's upset because I'm just asking questions, crowd, right? I'm just asking questions about Israel. But it's starting to come out like she's chosen a side, and the side that she's on, it has nothing to do with being pro-Zionist, and that's fine. That's totally cool. You don't have to be a pro-Zionist. Just don't pretend that this isn't about Jews, because you're now going after your good friend Ben Shapiro and called him a liar when he didn't lie. We'll show it tonight. And trust me, I'm a little reserved to protect Ben because I think Ben is wrong in this too. I'm like, for the first time ever in my show, I'm not left or right of this stuff. I'm in the center and I'm looking at it and I'm laughing at how stupid this is. But it's really important that as a source, you guys know who you're listening to. She leaked Charlie's private text for clicks, views, and money. This is a woman who's been scorned over and over. She is the only friends she has are the people who agree with her, which are the people who also hate Israel and hate the Jews. This is the Hodge twins. This is Stu Peters. This is Nick Fuentes. This is anyone who doesn't like Jews is going to side with her. And they say, oh, it's Israel. I don't like Israel. We know what you're saying. You don't have to pretend. So what happens when she pisses them off? What happens when she takes the people who are the white Christian nationalists and pisses off that group? She's going to be a person without a home. She's pissed off every black person in America. They despise her. She's not being very nice to people who have any other religious beliefs other than her. She doesn't like Jews. She's pissed the left off. She doesn't like conservatives. What happens when she loses the Nazi crowd? It's going to be interesting to say the least.
Yep.
So we got a lot tonight. There's a whole bunch. So if it's okay with y'all, I know a lot of people wait to the end. If you could no longer wait tonight alone just for donations, let's get these things in. I don't want to be worried about this. I want to be focused. I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about these things. So if we're going to donate tonight, and I'm not saying you have to watch the show, you never do. But if you're going to, now's the time. So let's recap. Let's recap this, Liv.
Okay.
Democrats 45 some odd days ago. Democrats, well, let's go back even further. 2017. No, we're going to go back further than that.
Okay.
We're going to go back to Obama and Biden, who passed the Obamacare Act, the Affordable Care Act. This was 2010. 30 million Americans got health care off the backs of the working class people.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael, Michael makes a great point. I got to put it. He says, it's funny how some of the top YouTubers are becoming the National Enquirer. Shock and awe brings views and money, so you see what they value. Amen, Michael. Amen. Perfectly stated, brother. That's the video I did today. All right. So 2010, the ACA, Affordable Care Act, which wound up not being affordable, but Obamacare gets passed. No Republicans are involved. It's in the dead of night. And it was a roughshod way to do this. And Republicans didn't want it. But the reason why they didn't want it, do you know why they didn't want it?
No, I don't. I wasn't really into politics back then. I know nothing about it.
Fair enough. It was Mitt Romney's / Paul Ryan with minor influence in the Heritage Foundation healthcare plan.
Oh, I had no idea.
And the reason why Democrats didn't write this is, well, because Hillary Clinton spent $27 million during Bill Clinton's presidency trying to come up with a healthcare plan. And she was in charge of it. And people were jumping off the roofs to get away from her. So Democrats never had a healthcare plan. So they took a abandoned Heritage Foundation, Mitt Romney plan and implemented it. But the Republicans knew one thing, that it was going to be a Band-Aid to a permanent problem, and it would overall start cannibalizing itself. And it did. I love that people are now embracing the word wanker, because I've brought it back. Me. It's nobody else. I've brought the word back. It is my word. I'm going to get a shirt. Nobody else the word wanker was dead. I have literally, the entire Republican community is starting to use it. Facebook people are starting to use it. The good, bad, and the ugly just used it. People are starting to use the word wanker a lot, and it's a great word. In fact, I call people also brick and stumps also have been making a comeback. But wanker, it's a great word. And Facebook won't flag you. So you just be like, dude, you're a wanker. You're just being a wanker. It's a great word. So then let's fast forward to 2017. 2017, Donald Trump gets into office, right, Liv?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the first thing he goes after? Go ahead and put that in there. Go ahead.
Mr. Hollandaise, let's make the donations wholesome tonight, dummies. That's cute.
It's very well done.
Yes.
Very well. I don't know
I don't know what it means, but thank you.
It's okay. Maybe he's talking about, okay, moving on, I'm not going to say it. So 2017, Donald Trump starts reading the tea leaves, and he sees that one of the largest expenditures in the U.S. happens to be entitlement benefits. And Obamacare is getting funded, ACA, through the overall debt that the United States accumulates and has to spend is to subsidize Obamacare. Now, they wanted to vote it down. Now, to be honest, they didn't have a plan. They didn't. John McCain, that was his big protest, but honestly, he hated Trump. So they lost it by one vote. It was that close. Missed it by that much. Okay?
Okay.
Then, in 2021, COVID, 2021, COVID hit. Massive, everyone was going to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of money that hospitals were getting The government had to incentivize people who had COVID, blood tests, people who were actually put on rebreathers. They were incentivized for COVID qualification cases, from deaths to ICU intake to diagnosis of COVID. Insurance companies and doctors' office literally just billed the U.S. government into obliteration. Go ahead.
Bobby Richardson, 2110 smiles. Smiles back to you, Bobby. Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby. Love you. My son is very happy with the Oregon Ducks right now for giving us Bo Nix because the Broncos are the best team in the NFL, and he's excited. By the way, did I tell you the Colorado Avalanche are also the best team in the NHL, and people are saying that there are hockey teams and then there's the Avalanche? And they haven't seen a team like this, and they don't know how long, but it's very reminiscent of the 2022 team, which was one of the best teams ever to lace up skates. And isn't it amazing that the Colorado Avalanche have had literally 3 of the best teams the NHL has ever seen? It's the truth. People win Stanley Cups and aren't the best all the time, but the Colorado Avalanche were absolutely dominant in 2022. They were dominant in 2001, and they are absolutely doing things that no other team has done ever in the NHL. The sheer numbers, and I'm not going to bore you and break it down for you, but the offensive production is so ridiculous that they have one of the worst power plays in the league, and we actually hope that they don't go on the power play. That's how deadly they are 5 versus 5. They are a Scotty Bowman, Detroit Red Wings rolling 4 lines, and you can't even keep up with yourself. The talent on this team is so good that their AHL team is 14-2. Okay, so moving on. So 2021, 2022, what happens at that point? All those things happen with COVID, and Obamacare starts bleeding. And I mean bleeding to a point of a tune of like, over the 2.5 year span, you're supposed to be able to fund Obamacare with like $1.7 trillion. But you're talking $750 billion in less than a year and a half was spent. And hospitals were getting to a point where government could not continue to subsidize what the hospitals were billing. This increased insurance costs. This increased hospitals costs. And they passed it on to who? The insurance companies. So then the insurance companies pass it on to who? Us. And then we get high premiums. So this is what we've been seeing. We've been seeing an incline, like a hockey stick of high premium. Sorry, no, I'm not doing the heart thing. By the way, if you want to go look at Spanberger's acceptance speech and Mom Donnie did the heart thing like Elon Musk.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but that's a whole nother. See, I'm digressing. I'm trying to get focused. So Monique says COVID was a giant money laundering scam that unfortunately was also a way to test if people would comply. I don't disagree with either. So now that we've established this, in 2021, what do you think they needed to do to fund Obamacare? What did they pass in 2021? The Democrats passed the big 2021, 2022. Do you remember?
I don't.
You do. It was called the IRA, and it started with Inflation
Reduction Act.
Correct. Yeah. So the Inflation Reduction Act, which was supposed to be to stop inflation, was really a giant boondoggle for Obamacare and investment in everything but reducing inflation. It throttled small businesses. They put Green New Deal plans in place. They put regulations on businesses that were ultimately getting them to close. Closing the government was bleeding small businesses. All of these things happened. So they put the subsidies in the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, that was 2021. They put them in. In 2022, they codified it till 2025. 2025 is right
now.
So Democrats knew about it. Democrats cooked it. Democrats wrote it. Democrats funded it. Democrats knew it was going to bankrupt. And what did they do? They left it for Donald Trump and didn't do anything about it. So when the vote comes up,
they can blame him.
They can blame him. So they lock the government down. And they say, no, we're not going to do it. Because they know the election's coming up. And they know right now cost of living is a major amount of money for people. So what do? They lock it down. They wait 40 some odd days, wait for the election, take all their blue states, even though some of those races were close, and absolutely the lockdown made a massive impact, especially in Virginia. Then they open it back up with 8 votes. And all of these votes, minus 2 of them, one is John Fetterman, who they are throwing to the wolves. 6 of them are not open for re-election until 2030, and one of them is retiring in Dobbins. So Dobbins is retiring. The other seats aren't open until 2030. So they used fresh, brand new, recently elected legislators and are throwing John Fetterman to the wolves. Does that sound like happenstance to you? Does that sound like an accident or serendipity?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. So now you have an idea of why the lockdown happened. So what was the narrative going into it? I told you, I said, listen and watch, because I'm telling you, there's two things that are going to happen. They're going to use the lockdown in the election.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did I say? You guys remember, I said that they were going to use this to go ahead and continue the effort towards the Epstein files and say that it was a Republican lockdown because they didn't want to get the vote for the Epstein files, and because they were only one vote shy. And the Arizona daughter of the legislator who was here, who she replaced, wasn't sworn in. So the narrative was Mike Johnson was holding the vote and locking down the government so they could protect the pedophile Donald J. Trump and all his pedophile friends. What's happened? Well, today, exactly that. So the left has done this. Jody Kane says, what does this have to do with a pedophile in office now? First of all, that's slander and it's libel. You have absolutely no evidence of that, no proof of that. Why don't you call into the show and we'll see how much you know? And I'll ask a series of questions and you can ask me questions and we'll see who wins. 276-200-2105. It won't be a debate. It'll just be a conversation. But you just called a man a pedophile. You called him one of the worst things that you possibly could, outside of the fact that you called him transphobic, homophobic, a Nazi, a racist, blah, 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 blah. Now you call him a pedophile. Remember you were calling him an adjudicated rapist because you people were getting sued, so you had to change the adjudicated part because you were calling him a rapist? Because we both know what that means. He has no charges. He has no investigation. There was no criminal court. It was a civil court where the preponderance of evidence, 78% of the time, goes with the person suing the other. So what are you talking about? 276-200-2105. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. I'd love to hear how you have the gall to call another human being a pedophile with absolutely zero evidence. Now, you're going to go ahead and say, well, those emails we saw today, that proves he's a pedophile. Actually, it proves nothing. Because when you're going to go ahead and accuse someone of diddling a child, you're probably going to have to go ahead and prove that, not just say it. So I know that you're a drive-by troll. I know you're not going to call. I know you're a coward because you're using language that you don't believe. You're just using it because, once again, your side lied. So what does it have to do with it? I'm going to prove it to you right now. And you're not going to change your mind because you're a liberal. Liberals don't change their mind. They don't have it. That's why Crowder has a show called Change My Mind. And he's trying to show you guys the way to be, which is to, when you get a preponderance of evidence, when you get exculpatory evidence, that you should be able to admit and change your mind, but you can't do that. But you just called a man a pedophile with no evidence. There was a day if you did that, you'd be held accountable for your words. Those days are long gone. But let's go ahead and break it down for, what's her name? Jody? Karen? What is it?
Jody.
Jody. So here's the thing. So we are talking about these emails. If you haven't seen them, I'm pulling them up right now so we can take a look.
Okay.
So first of all, the emails that you saw today, and I'm going to go through each one of them with us, all of us. And I hope Jody is still on. Doubtful. So you're not going to be able to see this because it's really small. So let me do this. Okay. Oh my Christ. Liv, I need the fan on. Can you do it for me, please? Take my phone and it's the third, or it's the green all the way, the last green for the fan. Thanks. It's hot in here. Hey, E, come turn my fan on, please, buddy. All right. Do you need help or you got it?
I think I got it.
Okay. Yeah, just go to 4 if you could. All right. So here's the deal. Can you turn that fan on, bud? Turn on high. 3 clicks. Thanks, pal. All right. So first of all, this is the email. Sorry, folks. I don't have interns. I got to do this all myself. So bear with me. Ghislaine Maxwell. That's the email. gmax1@lmax.com. And it says, importance high. From there it says, I have been thinking about that. Then from Jeffrey Epstein, it says, I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim is redacted. Spent hours at my house with him, and he has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Okay. So what he's saying is that Trump is the dog that hasn't barked. Now, another way you could put this is the person that hasn't squawked, the person that hasn't told, the person who hasn't been mentioned is essentially the vernacular for this. No, Jody, stay here.
No, she is.
Okay, stay here, because I'm not done. Because I'm going to show this to you. And I really take offense that you called him a pedophile. As a person who was raped as a child twice by 2 different people, I haven't even named my accuser that. You've got to be right when you say stuff like this, because this right here is what gets people killed. This is what gets people thinking that it's okay to shoot Charlie Kirk because he's a Nazi and a racist. It's okay to try to kill Donald Trump twice because they think he's a Nazi and a fascist. It's ridiculous. We're accountable for the things we say. We really are. So if I'm coming down too hard on you, I apologize, but I'm not okay with that, man, because he's not a pedophile. It's a ridiculous thing. And I have no problem with demonstrating and proving it to you like I'm doing right now, but I've got more. I've got no problem talking about this. Many people have tried to come in here and they can't. So now you've got an email that's been redacted yet again. And I will tell you, you're not going to like this. Here is the other email. This is from Michael Wolff, who is an absolute dirtball. Michael Wolff is an opportunist. He is a liar. He has chronically defamed Trump and accused him of things that never took place. He's on every podcast you can, completely just full of shit. Victim, Mar-a-Lago, redacted. Trump said he asked me to resign. This is Jeffrey Epstein. Never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. He knew that he was recruiting talent. He knew that he was taking young, attractive girls. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But what he was doing with them, that remains to be seen. We don't know what that's you're assuming that everything that Epstein did with girls was pedophilia. Well, that's completely bullshit. There's no functional way that anyone could survive that way. Every time he goes to the grocery store, he's touching little girls. Every time he gets on a plane, he touches a little girl. Come on. The guy had a life, and for years he kept this undercover to simply say that he knew about the girls, and immediately it's about pedophilia, and not that he was recruiting talent, which is ultimately what the detective said in the Palm Beach Investigation Department. It's what his attorney said, which would be Jeffrey Epstein's attorney said openly, that Trump helped him with the investigation. And it's also what Alan Dershowitz, who was also an attorney of Jeffrey Epstein, said, who was also slandered and smeared as being in a relationship. So that's the second email. Now, I'm going to tell you who redacted is. And this is going to blow this wide open. I'm going to tell you who it is. This is the other one that just came across, the last email. And these 3 emails were linked by whom, Liv?
I'm going to assume one of the Democrats.
Democrats. It wasn't released by vote. They were leaked. But let me tell you something. These weren't leaked. These emails I read because I did read all the files that were released. By the way, people keep saying release the Epstein files. There's 37,000 of them. How many more do you want? Joe Biden released 9,000 before he was in office, 9 months before Trump took over. Pam Bondi, don't you remember the folders? And then the Senate Oversight Committee released 30,000 of them. All in, there's between 37 and 40,000 emails on Jeffrey Epstein, or but files. You haven't read any of them. And the reason why you're falling for this, liberals, is because you didn't do the due diligence of reading them. Because these were all released in 2024. Unredacted. With the name of the victim who wasn't a victim, and completely exonerated Trump on 3 different occasions under testimony and on TV. So who redacted them? In order to create confusion, in order to create supposition and conjecture right after they went ahead and locked the government down to take embarrassment away from them. I think we all know, because here's Michael Wolff again. It says, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and hasn't gotten a raw deal and is victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. Then Jeff replies, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Then it says, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either are in air or in the scrum afterwards. He's literally figuring out and talking about, this is supposed to condemn Trump. This condemns Epstein and Wolff. Wolff was cajoling and working with Epstein in order to frame Trump and control his presidency. It's right there. I'm not taking calls right now. I'll take a call in a minute. Unless it's the lady.
No, it's not.
Okay, not doing that call right now. So you asked me a question, well, Matt. I don't understand. How do you know all this? Well, because you obviously have not followed Virginia Giuffre or Giuffre. And we're not listening to what she said. So let me go ahead and show you that. And then I'll show you the video where CNN openly defends Donald Trump and says this is a bunch of hogwash. And if you think I'm lying to you and you're like, Matt, you're lying to me, there's no way that email was released. It's right here. Unredacted. And here is Virginia's name. It's the exact same email. I want you to realize that the dog hasn't barked in Trump. Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Well, I'm going to show you testimony that Virginia Giuffre absolutely, or Giuffre, or whatever you say her name, ultimately said Donald Trump never sexually advanced on her, never touched her, never treated her inappropriately in any way, shape, or form. If you don't believe me, here it is. At Mar-a-Lago, my dad and him, I wouldn't say they were friends, but my dad knew him and they would talk all the time. Well, not all the time, but when they saw each other. Have you ever been in Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's presence with one another? No! It's right there. You can go through the testimony, and if you would have read all the 37,000 documents were released, you would know that Virginia 100% also on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and everywhere else before she died and took her life, was that she exonerated Trump of all wrongdoing and said in no way, shape, or form did he ever do any of these things they're accusing him of. Now you don't believe me even more. Okay, well, we can just keep doing this because I can do this all day, because this is what happens when you actually read the evidence. This is what happens when you actually ensure that you're educated on this stuff, that nobody can call and lie. Nobody can make up stories. And am I pissed about this? Yes. And I have every right to be upset by this. This is ridiculous. Come in with your video right now. 1 second. If I can find it. Oh, I'm so pissed at this. Like, you can't hit him on the things he said about H-1B visas today. You can't hit him on that. You can't hit him on the things he deserves to be hit on. But you hit him on this type of stuff. Here's the video. Maybe. Oh, let me show you one more file. One more. Here's the files. Here's the email. Here's the redaction. This is what the Democrats just put out. You can see it's the same thing from the Daily Mail. The same report that the Daily Mail did in 2024. And it says, how do you know Donald Trump? Trump had sex with, ? How do you know who Donald Trump had sex with? Oh, I didn't physically see him have sex with any of the girls, so I can't say who he had sex with in his whole life or not. Right there, she just removes herself as a credible witness. She doesn't know. Donald Trump was also a good friend of Jeffrey's. That part is true. He didn't partake in any sex with any of us. He flirted with me. It's true. It's not, and then, wait. He didn't partake in any sex with any of us, but he flirted with me, in quotes. That's what somebody said. Then it says, it's true that he didn't partake in any sex with us, but it's not true that he flirted with me. Donald Trump never flirted with me. Completely removes all doubt. They had the quote because these were the quotes that they had from other witnesses, and she completely repudiates that testimony. In no way, shape, or form did he touch me, did he flirt with me, and she said this on all the news programs as well. Wow, this looks pretty bad for calling him a pedophile. You guys have been doing it for how long? Here's a video to support this. Liv, I apologize for the length of this. We are going to get into our show. Folks, if you have not donated to the show, please help the show. I don't want to keep asking that, so if you have not had a chance, please do it. We've got to keep it going. Liv, who donated? Did I say hi to everybody? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the video. Listen to this.
October, weeks before the presidential election. She was a huge Trump fan. Two reasons for that. One, she had met Trump on numerous occasions because she worked at Mar-a-Lago Spa in Florida, which he owns. And her father also worked there and knew Trump pretty well. So she was introduced to Trump. He was kind to her. The second reason she wanted Trump to be president was because he campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. And she was excited about that. So, yes, we talked about Trump a lot.
As a crusader to release the Epstein files, in that sense.
She was very excited that he had made that one of the main planks of his campaign.
It wasn't. That's a lie.
And she felt validated by it.
It's a lie.
But she never talked about him in any sense that he was involved in any of this.
No, he was not. As far as she knew, and again, she was there for 2+ years. But as far as she knew, he was not involved in the ring of trafficking that Epstein was.
All right. So now you got credible witness saying absolutely not. Who knew Virginia, which is huge. But here's the thing that you need to understand is that Donald Trump did not run on releasing the Epstein files. He said it 2 times in running up to his election in 2024. He mentioned it at 2 rallies. One was brought up by one of the previous people that he had on stage. And then he did say that this Epstein case needs to be looked into and the truth needs to be revealed. His exact words, quote, unquote. Go ahead, babe.
Charity Lamb, good show tonight. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Charity. Then he said it in an interview with Fox and Friends with our favorite person, Rachel Compost Duffy.
It's Rachel's Compost Duffy.
And Pete Hegseth. And they asked him a question and they said, are you going to release the Epstein files? Are you going to release the JFK files? Are you going to release the Martin Luther King files? And Trump said, yes, yes, and yes. Wait a second. I've got to look at it. Because a lot of the names in there that they have in there, you know how people are, and they'll accuse and assign, like that person who called in and just called Trump a pedophile. And we don't want that to happen, so I'm going to have to take a close look at it. That's what he said. He never ran on releasing the Trump files per se. So to say he made it Epstein files. In any way, shape, or form. You go to Project 2025, it's nowhere on Project 2025. It's nowhere on Agenda 47, which is his true platform. But remember, you guys said Project 2025 was Trump. So why is it on that platform in any way, shape, or form to release the Epstein files? It's not. It's not on Agenda 47 either. It was not a part of either platform, the one you lied and assigned to him with Project 2025, which 7 things out of the 800 have been passed that just coincide with Trump because he's a Republican. But Agenda 47, go look at it. Go look at Agenda 47 and check mark how many things that Donald Trump is getting done. Just people are melting down now and they're pissed off because their version of what they want and think America first means America isolationism. And it's not. You can put America first and still pay attention to what's going on in the world. Because, folks, the adage of this being true is 100% that when America gets a cold, the rest of the world gets the flu. Every day goes by the way of the United States for the rest of the world, whether you people realize that or not. And we have an obligation to ensure that our freedom is protected. And the way you do that is not just nationally, but geopolitically and globally. Do I agree with bombing everyone for 22 years? Nope, that's not what I'm saying. Do I believe that there's no major world war because the United States is strategically placed around the entire world with military bases that can react within hours in any hotspot in the world? Yep. Yep. So here is
unanimous consent.
And if you think I'm lying, this is the reason why. Here's Burchett, Tim Burchett. We love Tim Burchett, Republican, just down home country boy. Oh, I'm not done. Just wait. I'm going to show you CNN. Your number one news source, liberals, literally throws you all under the bus, just destroys your narrative, and completely just neuters Jasmine Crockett. Thank God. I hope that woman can't reproduce. Here's Burchett putting a vote just recently. This just happened at 1:33. Pushed it to release the Epstein files. Watch.
What purpose does the gentleman from Tennessee rise?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on the Judiciary be discharged from further consideration of H.R. 4405 and ask for its immediate consideration in the House.
Under guidelines consistently issued by successive speakers, as recorded in Section 956 of the House Rules and Manual, the chair is constrained not to entertain the request unless it has been cleared by the bipartisan floor and committee leaderships. What purpose does the gentleman from Tennessee seek recognition?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker. We Republicans are requesting this unanimous consent. Are Democrats objecting to this request?
Chair reminds the gentleman from Tennessee that, as indicated by Section 956 of the House Rules and Manual, it is not a proper parliamentary inquiry to ask the chair to indicate which side of the aisle has failed under the Speaker's guidelines to clear a unanimous consent request, as was stated.
Wow. So let me get this straight. Democrats have been railing to get the Epstein files released. A motion is made to release those files. Parliamentary inquiry is made and then is rejected summarily by the Democrats. Why? If Trump is guilty and they're all in there, why? Why would you do that? Now, I know Chuck in there, Charlemagne or Charlemont, Cocknock, whatever that person's name is. Nice made-up name. You are accusing Donald Trump again of being a pedophile. That's fine. Here's your kiss of death. I was going to hold it in a little bit and let you guys wiggle on the hook before throwing it in. Explain to me this. Explain to me why Jasmine Crockett is out there lying just like you are, that Donald Trump's a pedophile, and CNN had to literally fact-check her on air, because this is going to go ahead and destroy your entire... Everything I said right now is true. I'm going to prove it, because CNN is going to tell you it's true after I already reported on it. I just couldn't get a video out before the live show. If you think I'm not going to do it tomorrow, you're wrong. Here, listen. Merry Christmas.
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans are saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of...
He's a fucking piece of shit rapist. No, you're not. No, he's not. He's never been charged with rape. He's never been convicted of rape. Rape was never investigated. You're a liar. E. Jean Carroll accused him of sexual assault. In fact, they never found him adjudicated of rape. In fact, I can go ahead and show you the court documents if you want to see those too, to completely shut your face up, because you're wrong. You're a liar. It's libel and slander. Nobody's paying me to say this because this is the truth. Lady, they're telling you right now that Democrats manufactured this and you're running on it right now. You're sitting here telling us that he's a rapist based on information. You've been played. It shows that you're literally a retard. You're a fucking retard. And that's your fault. See, there's different types of retards. There are people who have a disability, genetically predisposed. And then there's fucking retards, Karens like you, who could not find their ass with two hands and a flashlight. So pardon me if I go ahead and continue to prove you wrong as you melt the fuck down with an estrogen-laden bovine moo.
Any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand,
Okay,
but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
This is an email from April 2nd.
There you go, lady. Your great hope. The woman who is educated and went to private school, who speaks with absolutely no slang and no ghetto. I'm more black than she is. I grew up in the hood longer than she did. This woman has absolutely no accent, and now she literally sounds like Queen Latifah. Yeah, that's your person. One of the fakest people in the world. She's almost as fake as Island Omar, the brother fucker. I'm done not cussing. Not tonight. Tonight I'm going to cuss. Because retards like you actually take air. You literally had CNN, the people who you believe everything from, Russian emails, 2 impeachments, quid pro quo, Mar-a-Lago, the files and classified briefings from NARA. P-tapes, Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels, who literally looks like a Weight Watchers reject Beetlejuice. I don't know if you've seen her, but she went downhill fast. You just got owned on air. I literally just punted you through the uprights, and you're still like, he's a pedo. Democrats fabricated an email that was already released in 2024. When they released those emails that you were begging for them to release, well, they released them, you idiot. You just haven't read them because this is manufactured outrage for you. Go ahead, babe.
WR332 Super Chat. Thank you so much. It's really odd that one group in this country pushes an ideology that allows and accepts throwing aspersions with no evidence towards others if one singular requirement is met that you don't like them.
Well, Chuck, I'm sorry to say, you just got schooled. And there's nothing else I can do for you. You guys are going to believe what you want. I apologize for the language. It's not very Christian of me. I know. I'm working on it. But there's a time when you've got to just say enough. Now, thank you so much, Isaac. Now, if you have evidence, and I mean evidence, and evidence is sworn testimony with an affidavit, a grand jury indictment, charges, a parking ticket, anything, depositions, he needs to swing. And anyone who did that to children, including Trump, I will immediately denounce and renounce any support for Donald Trump or the Republican Party, and that I will throw all of them under the bus. And I will spend a lifetime trying to destroy every single one of them until they're cooked. But it's funny. You're not going to go ahead and do that because you actually have evidence of somebody who visited the island 27 different times under taxpayers' dollars. You have a person who has been absolutely 100% linked to Jeffrey Epstein in the most negative ways possible. You have a former president who has been implicated in rape multiple times by multiple women that Hillary Clinton destroyed. And yet you don't lift the proverbial finger. you don't say anything. I wonder why that is. I wonder why you're not talking about Bill Clinton this way. And could it possibly be that the FBI and the Department of Justice just released over 75 pages on an investigation that leads directly to Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton doing pay-to-play and using government misappropriation for their time in office and hiring illegally third parties, including spies from England with the Steele dossier, fabricating false evidence. And now all of a sudden this comes out because, you know what? You didn't care about this. I don't hear pedo Bill Clinton coming out of your mouths. I don't hear any of it. Here it is. Told you this night was going to be heavy. Sorry, honey.
New details this morning. Hundreds of new pages have been unsealed in a lawsuit connected to convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The victim alleges that former President Clinton pressured Vanity Fair not to run a story on Epstein. The pages also shed new light on how Epstein's victims were recruited and what happened to them. CNN's Gene Cesaris joins us now. And Gene, we're talking about 900 pages here, so there's a lot to go through. What new details have come out?
Well, they came out last night, combing through them. And, this all stems from a 2015 civil suit brought by Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell. And Virginia Giuffre had wanted her story to come out. She wanted a book. And so she became very close with a reporter out of Britain. And this reporter was encouraging her to go to the Vanity Fair magazine to have them do an article on it. And here is what, in a newly undisclosed email from 2011, here's what Virginia Giuffre says. She says, considering that B. Clinton walked into VF, Vanity Fair, and threatened them not to write sex trafficking articles about his good friend, J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, so she didn't want to do it.
Wow. Nobody seems to care about that. And you know what? Even if that's true, which I don't know if it is, unless there is some sort of legal charges, I don't care. I don't care about Bill Clinton. I don't care about Trump. I only want people who are found guilty in the court of law. We've had enough political lawfare. Everyone deserves the right to innocence, even Bill effing Clinton. Although that the evidence is actually not fabricated, it's real, and you people still won't pull your heads out of your asses. I just demonstrated how this entire thing is just another frickin' psyop by the Democrats to get you distracted from their incapable inability to have one idea, an iota of thought of what to do to help this country other than get Trump. They ran on it in every single state on the election in November 4th. That's all they did. Get Trump. We went to the rallies. We saw the debates. Olivia and I both, everything. Get Trump, get Trump, get Trump, They don't have anything except we're going to tax you into prosperity. We want to have diversity, equity, and inclusion. 3 impossible things to achieve. We believe that women aren't really women. And we're going to go continue to kill babies as long into the process as we can until you allow us to kill them once they've been born. And you're going to sit here and tell me that they have a plan for the future. Their plan is to get Trump. That's what this is. Liv, that was a lot. Your thoughts?
Yes, that was a lot. No, the left is going to do anything. They're all about distraction, media distraction. So when there's going to be something that's going to come out that's a negative light on the party, they will immediately shift gears, and all of a sudden something magically appears on the media that somebody in the right did, usually Trump. And it's just a smokescreen so people don't actually see what they're really doing.
Right. Or talk about what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Carolyn Levitt. Sorry for the language, but you are a retard. I'm just letting you know, Chuck. I'm done not using these offensive words. It is the perfect word to describe y'all. you are a willing participant in mental retardation. Here's Carolyn Levitt, who looks lovely, by the way.
I have your statement about the new Epstein emails that have been released by House Democrats. Separate from why you believe the emails were made public, can you address their substance? Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship.
So let me get this straight. It's not just CNN. It's not just me. It's not me giving you the receipts and showing you those files, because we've went through those files and we've covered them on the show. And immediately when I saw that, I knew exactly what files they were and what the liberals did. Then they turned down a vote by Burchett, who wanted to have them released so he could literally show them released and say, here's the files that they altered, which would be a preponderance of evidence to demonstrate that the Democrats altered those files. And now you have Carolyn Levitt saying it. It's almost like the entire world is absolutely sick of liberals and their complete and utter because everybody is railing against you. And what's funny is go on X, and every single post, every blue check mark who is DNC bought and paid for is saying the same thing with the same doctored graphics, with the same memes, and you're running this story because you know what's happening. America is sick and tired of liberals. It's all you have. You can't get them on shutting down the war with Israel and Gaza. You can't go ahead and give them any respect for Congo, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and any other places across the United States where he has at least lowered tensions to a point where there is a ceasefire or there's a negotiation to stop all-out conflict. You can't give him anything like that. You can't tell him that the border is 100% secure, even though Joe Biden spent 91 pieces of legislation completely shutting them down with executive orders and having the worst border crisis ever in U.S. history, and Donald Trump locked it down in 24 hours. You can't stand the fact that the stock market didn't crash like you wanted it to. You can't stand the fact that the energy prices are driving down, which is his entire plan, is to lower the cost of energy, to go ahead and lower the cost of food and commodity. But that's going to take time because we finally got the fuel prices right. Remember, the fuel prices that the president can't control unless it goes down, and Joe Biden took all the credit for that, but did when it went down, but not on the way up. So he denied it on the way up, took credit on the way down. Donald Trump comes in, gets prices lowered within 9 months. National average is down $1.25. He's negotiated deals with Europe. He has negotiated for them to stop buying fuel from Russia. Our oil reserves, he's going to get it down and refuel all of our oil reserves. He did it back in 2018, which made him a genius that Biden literally obliterated. Everything he does has a purpose, and it may not always be a hit. Never mind the billions and trillions of dollars coming back into the United States, slow rolling the pharmaceutical thumb on us, and also the chipsets from Taiwan Semiconductor, where he's actually getting companies to build chipsets in the United States for cheaper so we can slow the 10-year curve of being behind in the telecom and tech industry. You can't stand the fact that he's getting it done. And yes, turkeys might be a little bit more expensive at Walmart. Yes, that's true. But you were bitching about eggs. Now he went and bought $40 billion in Venezuelan beef. And you guys are upset at that because there is no beef in the United States. They had a shortage, the worst windfall they've ever had on productivity since the Great Depression, since the Dust Bowl, since the bottom fell out of the U.S. economy. And people were literally putting bones from butcher shops and drinking broth, and they would have that for a week to survive. We have less steak in the United States now, proportionately, than we did back then. Less meat, less red meat. So he goes and solves the problem for $40 billion and actually allows it so Maduro can't take over the country completely, which is another quagmire that we would get involved in. And you yell at him for that, and the ranchers are mad. Well, it's the ranchers' fault. They had 3/4 of record profit. Never before have they seen this profit before that they've had. But they had a low yield because they did not recognize the supply and demand issues that they would have. They didn't recognize that Donald Trump would come in and get the economy being better than Biden did, drop inflation down, and people would start buying red meat again. So they had a lower yield than anticipated. So he's supplementing it with Venezuelan beef. And if you think he's not going to bail out the ranchers, you're insane, because he did it when China came in and undercut buying wheat from us and soybeans, and he supplemented those farmers in 2020-21, and you guys all yelled at him for it, for bailing out farmers. Now you love the farmers. The man can't win. There's nothing he can do. Your Trump derangement syndrome has literally owned your entire life, and there's nothing you can do.
What are you guys going to do after 2028 when he's no longer in office? Are y'all just going to melt? Just out of curiosity.
Well, you also got to consider, what are Republicans going to do? Because without Republicans, or without Trump, Republicans can't win. We've proven that. He didn't go ahead and support Sliwa. He didn't openly support Sears. And he was kind of soft on, what was his name? In New Jersey.
Citrelli?
Yeah. Wasn't too hard on him. Did a tele-rally. They all got stomped. Sick and tired of this. Here's the rest. And then we're going to move on so Olivia can chime in. Oh, sorry, baby. I had to destroy this one. I almost told you not to come on. Folks, we've got hundreds watching. Obviously, because the content's good. We need a whole bunch of likes. We need your help. Please help us out. Also, if you've not had a chance, donations would be great. Paul Rivera, $20. We're at $91.10. We were off last night. We would love to overdrive tonight. We need some help. Let's keep doing this, because I'll tell you what, the other people, Candace, Tucker, Megyn, Kelly, Ben Shapiro, none of them are covering this. They're all playing grab ass with each other in some stupid melodrama, soap opera, the days of our lives. We're going to cover the truth. And yes, it might be intense, and yes, it might have some language. Sorry.
With Jeffrey Epstein is unfortunately no longer with us. Mary.
Thank you, Gavin. 2 questions on this. In the interest of transparency, why not just go ahead, release the full files on Epstein, get this all over with?
This administration has done more with respect to transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever.
Yep.
In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people. We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done more than any. And it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office. But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C., and it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
But given your
Reagan.
interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns? That's a defining factor of transparency, having discussions with members of Congress about various issues. And I'm not going to detail conversations that took place in the Situation Room, in the press briefing room. Right.
Here's why. You want the truth? Olivia, why wouldn't they go ahead and do a full-out release, unredacted information of the Epstein files? What are some of the reasons? By the way, your eyes look absolutely unbelievable tonight.
Thank you.
Holy crap, they look good. Your eyes are just... Go ahead.
Distracted much?
Shh, just go.
Victims. Some victims haven't come out
Great
yet.
point. Victims, sure. There's and you've got grand jury testimony right now. You have indictments that are sealed by the judge where they will not release this, but that's one of the reasons. What else? What's the second reason?
Could be names of some people who could be named by victims that public security, national security or something.
Right. So give me an
that.
example of that. What would it be? Give me something for national security. Like, what if there's 100 CEOs named?
People might want to do the, if they find out, you could have the, what was it, Luigi Mangione, whatever.
Luigi Mangione shooting, right? So public safety, what else?
Mm-hmm. It could seriously, people could protest those companies.
An economic sell-off.
An economic sell-off, and then all of a sudden you're going to have a crash.
NASDAQ's going to get crushed? Great.
Huge companies.
What happens if MI6 employed Epstein? What happens if it was the Saudis? What happens if it was the Jews?
Yeah, what happens if he was the CIA something? Yeah, so
what happens
there's
then?
A lot of things.
So should the government have total transparency, or should they lie to you sometimes?
No, I do not think the government should have total transparency.
I don't either. I just don't.
No, I don't.
But also the biggest thing about this is they will use whatever information is inside of there to hound and to stalk every single person. Can you imagine the women who the reporters would just absolutely go after? Can you imagine what foreign governments could do to gain information? You're putting this has bigger implications than we think. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why the Biden administration didn't release it. If there was anything in there about Trump,
they would have released it
right,
already.
But they didn't release it either
because they would have done anything to make sure he did not get elected again. They would, if he was in there in any way, shape, or form in a bad light, they would have released it in 2024. It would have been the
why
October
didn't they
surprise.
release it, right? Even if there were Republicans in it, they could have done harm. Why didn't they release it? They know why. Because they released what they could, redacted, but unredacted and releasing all of the files that are under grand jury and sealed right now, we don't know what it could do. What if it literally said that there was a honeypot type situation where a foreign government was doing this? Would we declare war? What if we found out Saudi Arabia was funding him? What if it was Qatar? You want to go to war with them? If they diddled thousands of kids, is that not enough for invasion? Is that not enough to send a couple tomahawks into their capital? The reason why you don't release it is because there are people who are implicated who are very, very powerful. And yes, it sucks. But I understand where I'm not condoning the government not holding people accountable, because if it was any of us, we would be in jail for the rest of our lives, right?
Yeah.
I understand. It's the sheer amount. That's the problem. We're talking possibly thousands of highly powerful and prominent people in this country. Should they all go down? Okay, fine. You know what? Get your justice. Get them all in jail. Then what happens to those companies? What happens if it's airlines? What happens if it's medicinal companies? What happens if it's tech companies? Yes, they all deserve to rot in hell. But you have to ask yourself the question, is it a matter of national security to release all those names unredacted and possibly cripple the United States economy, the NASDAQ, and these companies? Thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs would be out in the open, would be vulnerable. What would it do to the United States? There's a lot of things we need that we don't understand. And a lot of it is speculative. What I'm saying could be completely off. They could just not want to release the files because it pisses off Democrats. I don't know. I don't care, but I do trust Donald Trump and I trust this administration. I trust Dan Bongino. I trust Kash Patel. And even though Pam Bondi is doing a horrible job, I don't believe she is carrying water for Trump. These people would be in jail for the rest of their lives if they are complicit in what the left is accusing Donald Trump of. Yes, Tom, but not before they go ahead and sell off and literally lose all their employees. Can you imagine if if 2 companies in the NASDAQ went belly up right now, it would absolutely bankrupt and flatline the United States. It would flatline the United States. What if it's an entire board of Chevron? What if they were taking weekend trips there? They were sending VPs, they were sending executives of all types, CFOs, CMOs, COOs, CEOs, and you literally put the entire board of Chevron in prison. What do you think happens to Chevron? Chevron goes, pfft. Chevron crashes. You lose 2.3 some odd trillion dollars of money from NASDAQ. People start buying other gasoline companies. Somebody comes in and saves Chevron. They absolve it. Now what you have is you start seeing monopolies take form. But what happens to the gas stations? What happens when that 300,000 barrels of oil that's being shipped out and being used in the United States, where 15% of it goes under? Well, then the United States has to start investing money in other places. We have to go to places like Venezuela. We have to go to Saudi Arabia. Maybe we go to Russia and buy energy because we saw what Biden did when he had no options. Maybe we use the oil reserves, and that puts us at an economic disadvantage and national security disadvantage. The repercussions. Then they start laying people off in the food markets because transportation is too expensive. So they start consolidating. Then they start laying people off at these food plants and start using robotics because companies like China, companies like Taiwan come in to the United States and start saying, we can save you on every single dollar 27 cents by firing your current staff and replacing it with robots that have a high upfront cost, but will be 12 cents on the dollar within the next 10 years. Now you see U.S. jobs go down. Then you see our credit rating go down. You start seeing inflation tick up. This all has an impact. And if you don't believe me, just look what happened to our economy after 9/11. Look what happened after COVID. Massive shifts in the faith of the stock investors will ultimately bleed down to every single bottom line dollar in every company in America. By one company going belly up. And yes, 100%. They all deserve to be held accountable. But what happens when you do? Just think. That's all I'm asking you to do is think. CJ Jenkins, 7774. Thank you for your service, sir. Love it when you get fired up. Thank you, Siege. Let me ask you a question. Donald Trump he inherited this, right?
Mm-hmm.
He walked into this. He walked into it in 2016. He walked into it in 2024. Could it possibly be, just possibly be, that Donald Trump knows that there are some very powerful people on there? And if they release this publicly, that it's going to be an absolute pitchfork and torches moment? That'll be open season on the heads of these people? Mm-hmm. Or do you think Donald Trump is actively working as hard as they can, and the DOJ is working as hard as they can to hold these people accountable in a way that is not going to literally put our national security at risk? I mean, isn't that a possibility?
I would assume the latter.
I mean, isn't that more likely than Donald Trump's protecting billionaires and he's holding by a thread to make sure the truth doesn't come out? That administration can't keep a secret. Ben Franklin said it best. 3 people can keep a secret if 2 are dead. They can't keep anything secret. Hell, they had a phone call. They had a phone call to Ukraine that wasn't recorded and actually was not verbatim written down with a stenographer. It was a person reflecting on the conversation who wrote it later, and they found out about that and impeached him on it. You can't keep a secret in Washington. You're kidding me? You guys believe that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by the Jews because you have absolutely no proof, but you can't fathom that Donald Trump might be playing long game on our economy and literally not want to put half of the Fortune 500 in prison. You can't possibly consider that. Yes, but Jewish space lasers creating the Lahaina fire. Hillary Clinton being a clone. Joe Biden's been dead for 20 years and he's been replaced by the deep state. You can believe all that, but you can't possibly believe that Donald Trump is playing long game here and trying to protect the national security of the United States, because every implication, every single thing in the files say that Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong, that he was the only person who cooperated. There's also rumors from Mike Johnson when he let it slip that he was possibly an FBI informant. And now when you say dog hasn't barked, maybe that means that Epstein knew that he was working with the FBI. And if he says the dog hasn't barked, don't bind the hands that feed you, there's a whole bunch of dog euphemisms we can tie into this. Isn't that more than likely what could be possibly happening? Is that Donald Trump did reveal some information, that he did do FBI assistance in some way, and that they would go ahead and ask his opinion because they know he excommunicated them from Mar-a-Lago? Why wouldn't the FBI follow up with that? Why wouldn't the Palm Beach detectives follow up with that? Well, we know they did. And what if, just if, Donald Trump knows who's in the files and they find that this is a matter of national security? That's why they're in the Situation Room. This is a huge, let me ask you this, Enron, do you think that they did not get together on Enron in the Situation Room and have conversations? Because they did. Look at Obama. Look at what Enron did to our country. Look at what the savings and loan scandal did. You don't think that they went ahead and talked about that for national security? You don't think they talked about fuel shortages? You don't think toilet paper shortages wasn't brought up?
Which I still don't understand why we had toilet paper shortages right at the beginning of COVID. That just made absolutely no sense.
The point is that these things are absolutely considered. When Russia farts, we have a conversation about it. Jamie says you can't be afraid to fight evil, even if it means we're going to bleed for fighting it. Sometimes the removal of evil requires sacrifice. If you go ahead and you do what the implication is that we think it is, you're going to destroy the country. And when someone just said they'll come in and buy an oil company, they'll come in and take over the United States. There's another country that will come in and do that.
Trump is America first.
And what happens when the U.S. fails? You don't think the rest of the world fails? I just told you, when we get a cold, everyone else gets a flu. The United States is the pillar that the entire world is built on. Whether everyone's aware of that or not, it's because maybe you haven't traveled outside the United States. But there's a reason why 80% of the rest of the world in business speak English. I'm speculating. I don't know. But if you guys really think that there are some very prominent people on this, there's no list, but in these files, and the Republicans are fighting it, well, guess what? The Republicans just went ahead and voted on it with Burchett. Why didn't the Democrats say yes? There's something bigger here. Jamie. Chuck Peterson donated $50.
Thank you, Chuck.
Jamie says, give 1 week to companies affected to prepare the new board. But you can't do that. You have to have a trial. You have to have a trial. You have to have a grand jury. You have to have indictments. If you replace all these people and government gets involved, well, now you've got a situation with insider trading, influencing an individual corporation. There are FEC violations all over that. The United States government can't dictate who's on the board. So you release this information and it trickles and it's one person named. Give them, let me finish your comment. Give them one week to surrender themselves, which offers them safety. There is a transitory route that I think could be taken on the full release happen. Just an opinion. Jamie, it's a good opinion, and I agree with you. But my point is that doesn't stop the American consumer from abandoning that company.
If with today's day and age, with social media and internet and how fast information travels, there is no innocent till proven guilty. It is guilty in the mind of the American people, and no matter what happens and no matter what happens in court, that person, regardless, if you thought they were guilty the first time you found out about the information, then you are always going to think they are guilty. And here's the other thing. That trial is not going to happen in 1 week. That's going to be years down the road because you're talking about $1 billion corporation.
Correct.
And it's going to be years. And American people are not patient enough to wait years to figure out if they want to support that company still. They're all going to run. Case in point, Casey Anthony. The entire country thinks she is guilty. I still think she is guilty. She was found not guilty and she's disappeared from public eye because the entire country / world thinks she is guilty of murdering her child.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything that anyone could say unless they came forward with the actual murderer and that person admitted that they framed Casey Anthony and that I killed this little girl. I don't think anyone's going to change their mind. Everyone thinks she is guilty, period.
Real quick, great points, Liv. Somebody just said that one Republican voted no. Was if this was the House, it has to be Massey. And if Massey did that, he's so cooked. Because he's been rallying against. If it's the Senate, it's got to be Paul. Who was the Republican? Good points, Livy. Very good points, honey.
Thanks.
Who was the one that voted against it? Right. What if SCOTUS is on the list? Then every single trial, what if it's judges? Then every single case that they went ahead and adjudicated will be recalled. Every one of them. Anything that, you guys, you just don't understand. Yes, evil needs to pay. Yes. I'm 100% down with it. I'm absolutely down with it. Deirdre, what a great comment.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to ask yourself the question. Yes, those victims need 100% justice. They do. I understand. Let the judicial process take place. Let them do this. Was it Massey? Massey. Of course it was. So Massey's been railing for the files to be released, but he wants the credit. He wants a floor vote. Such a pig. I told you about Massey. I told you guys that he was an absolute 100% rhino. Because, his Liberty score is so good. He's a douchebag. Looks like every senator has voted. Senator, what should it be, the House?
Well,
here is Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony, just so you can listen to this when it comes to Guthrie and others. Folks, we're at 8:30. This has flown by. We're at 218.84. We really want to try to hit goal. We missed last night, so we're already short for the week. I'm going to play this. We're going to do a commercial. We'll be right back. There's more in the Donut Friendly Show. We got a whole bunch more to play.
Yep.
Well, another big story breaking right now in a Fox News alert. The Justice Department, in a surprise move without any kind of warning that it was coming, released a transcript and audio from the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. Blanche posting it on X moments ago. Right now, we are going through the material so that we can bring you some excerpts from it, exactly what the two of them talked about. It's going to take a while, though, because there are hundreds of pages in these transcripts, and then the audio is going to take hours to go through. But David Spunt and our Justice Department team are working on it as fast as they can to try to break down some of the highlights and bring it to you.
This is quite a Friday night news dump. This is something that a lot of people had been asking for, were very interested in, not something we were 100% sure we would get. So this is quite newsy. You have to remember now, she said, Ghislaine Maxwell said that before this interaction, nobody from the government had ever spoken to her, period, in any presidential administration. This was her first interaction with a sitting White House administration official.
Yep. There's probably more than 300 pages to this transcript. The interview was conducted over a couple of days, over a number of hours each day. And again, there was.
So once again, if Donald Trump is guilty of anything, hang him. I'm totally down. But this, you can't sit here and just because you hate the man, make up shit. It just shows that you're completely off your rocker. You would never, ever call him a pedophile to his face. None of you would. You could, oh, yes, I would. No, you wouldn't. You're a coward. There's no way you would. You had to flash it, huh? You know what? But dunk-a-dunk. Here is Tim Burchett. I love my wife, folks. It's just the way it is. Here's Mr. Burchett after the vote.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC unanimous consent of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense, and and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it, and now they're all. Let's get it out, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here. Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett. Just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC unanimous consent.
So, obviously... I don't know what else to say. I'm putting this one to bed. I got to do a video on it tomorrow, and I don't. There's no way I can do a 2-minute video on this. It's impossible. There's too much to cover. It's ridiculous. It's just all lies. It's just what they do. It's what they always do. Folks, we've got to hit a commercial here. We've got 30 minutes left. We'll put the clock up. We're at 2:18:84. We missed last night because we had a power outage, and we would sure appreciate it if we can overdrive. We've got a lot to cover. We've got a lot to be with you on. Otherwise, we're going to have to take off at 9, and we'd love to stay a little bit later tonight if we can make up for last night.
I do have to leave for a few minutes at 10 minutes till.
Oh, 9?
Yeah,
Okay.
Hayden has got to be picked up. She can't get a ride.
Okay, that's fine. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and do a quick donation, and we'll be right back. 3 minutes, folks. Go pee, come back.
Hi, I'm Olivia Spear, host of The Dumb Show. For 3.5 years, we never asked for donations. But after Facebook demonetized us for speaking the truth, we've had to turn to the one thing big tech can't cancel: you.
I'm Hayden, Matt and Olivia's daughter. This show's never chased sponsors or sold out. We've built something honest, and it's thanks to you.
I'm Ethan, their son. Every share, every dollar, every message, you're the reason we can keep calling out the BS and bringing color back to the world going gray.
If you want to help, we take PayPal, Venmo, or snail mail. You can send it to P.O. Box 2, Round Hill, Virginia 20142.
Can't donate? No problem. Just share the show with someone who needs to hear it.
Thanks for helping us stay loud, proud, and completely uncensored. You can donate at thedumbshow.com/donate.
You know what happens when you turn the dial harder? You can make a harder grimace. The harder you grimace, the more effective it is.
You tighten it so frickin' I can't do it. I can't untighten it.
That's what she said.
That's what she's... Oof. Oof. Coming in with it. Pound it. Pound it. Pound.
Child gets 15.
Ethan, you look like a hippie.
Totally tubular.
You know this is recording, right?
Okay, let's go. Smile. Donate. Don't start with me. Donations. Every time you don't smile, I'm going to punch you in the ribs. Donations. Take one. Scene 1. Ready. Set. Ethan.
Break.
Ready. Don't screw it up.
Okay.
Ethan, don't mess this up. Ready. Set. Action. No. Whoa. Director calls action, not some stupid toddler.
But we've built something
There's no but there. Why do you've been doing this since you were 2 years old. Try it again.
Just share the show with someone who needs to hear it.
He's so much better than you at everything.
He's better at
Hayden, he's just like, even, it's just, go ahead, Hayden.
Thanks for helping us stay loud, proud, and completely uncensored.
That's a wrap. Well done, Spear family. I bet we make no money.
But I'm going to owe them money without.
Hayden, do your thing again.
Oh, yeah, cut it.
Baby shark, doo 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 doo.
Yes, thank you for your support. You guys help keep the Donut From Me show going, and we are 100% funded by y'all. And people go, oh, well, why don't you get a sponsor? Well, we like to stay independent and free. We created this thing 5 years ago, and we've managed to keep it going based upon viewers' interactions. And we had advertising dollars for a long time, and then Facebook decided to demonetize us. We've gotten that back, and things are getting better, but we still need that help. So we've come up with that number, $300 a day. It allows us to pay for the servers, lets us pay for the streaming software, all the stuff that we do, and take a little bit of something for my work. I think if you actually considered what people get paid and how much work we put into this show, and you would agree that that's not a big number. So if everyone helps out, we can hit it. We have 193 people on right now, and that's on Legacy, and that's an incredible number. Honestly, Facebook looks great. A bunch of people on Twitter. If everyone gave $1 right now, we would overdrive. Remember, we were off last night because of the power outage. Let's get back into it. Donald Trump talked on Fox today.
Should put up
the clock. Thank you, honey. I remember.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
keeping you honest.
I always know when you're there. Thanks. It's so easy just by your tone. It's so obvious. Our viewers know too. They can just tell. They're like, "Oh, Olivia's in the mood. She's froggy." So Donald Trump today had a conversation with Laura Ingraham, and I got to give Laura Ingraham credit. Sometimes when she goes after Trump, I think it's stupid. She had a right to now, and I got to give her credit. That was really well done. Donald Trump talks about the H-1B visas and the Chinese immigrants coming in. I'm going to let you listen to this. A lot of people are pissed off. A lot of people are saying this is going to cost them the midterms. I think you're exaggerating a little bit, but this is pretty serious. I didn't like it, and I don't think you will either. Here is the video, and then we can talk about it.
Republicans have to talk about it.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put you.
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing. It's very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
All right.
She looks like she got some work done.
I don't care. Sorry. Whatever. I'm not discrediting the National Enquirer and People Magazine here, but we do something different. She's had some filler. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Well, 100%. I'm looking at it right now, and I've got it on the 75-inch, and most assuredly she's had. I mean, you've heard it here first, folks.
She also needs to eat a hamburger.
Yeah, she needs.
She's lost a little bit of weight.
Yeah, she's definitely had some filler done, and that's whatever. It's not my business. Good for her. She's a radio personality and TV personality. She can do whatever she wants. Good for her.
She makes $2 million a month. She can afford it.
She doesn't make $2 million a month.
I saw her.
She does not make $24 million a year. No. Go ahead. Look it up. There's no way.
I did at one point.
Look at it now. Let's see. She does not make $24 million a year. No. She may not at Fox. She doesn't make $2 million a month. If she does, she's the highest paid. Sean Hannity doesn't even make $24 million a year. Maybe Sean makes that. If she makes that, I'm wrong. I'm completely shocked. Maybe it'll
15 mil from Fox.
Okay, that's not $24 million a year. Yeah, that's a lot. Now, with all of her books and podcasts, maybe. Honestly, can I tell you, 15 million is shocking. That's shocking. Fox has FU money, but that's a lot. No, 15 million a year. I guess that kind of makes sense, because I know there's some that make 30 to 50. I know there's $100 million contracts too. I know what Tucker Carlson was making before he left. He likes to pretend he's not a multimillionaire. Tucker Carlson is a multimillionaire. Yes. But that's great. Good for her. That's good money. Good for her. I mean, I would love to make 10% of that. I'd call it good. I'd quit. Well, I wouldn't quit. I'd continue to do it, but we're never going to get picked up. I'm in that doom and gloom phase. I'm in black pill territory. I don't think we're ever going to make it, because we don't we don't toe the line. You know what I mean, honey?
Mm-hmm.
We don't toe the line. We tell the truth.
Yep.
And, you know, that is. So we're going to tell the truth about this right now. There's a way to tell the truth, and Donald Trump doesn't have any decorum.
No. He doesn't have bedside manner.
He's right, though. He's right. When Laura Ingraham says, well, how do we do it when we were growing up? When you were growing up, you literally had stamp presses. Okay? And the most complicated thing you had to do was hit green for go and red for stop. When it comes to lithium ion, you have people who actually mix the chemicals. You have the people who create and mold the plastics. You have the people who do the foil stamps. You have people who do the conduction and the conductors inside of it. You have people that do regulators inside of it. You have microprocessors to regulate the battery. You have to do the diode. You have to actually charge the cell. You guys, this isn't a red and green button push. These people have to be highly advanced and highly trained in what they do. And it's a skill set. This is why the semiconductor business is so hard for us. It's going to take us 10 years because we have to train everybody. We're actually bringing in TSM and other countries and Samsung to come in here and train our people because we don't have the skill set to even train people how to do it. That's the problem. This is very complicated. He is not completely wrong. He's right. He just doesn't know how to say it right. And there's a way to process that. Yes, we have talented and great people. We have a lot of people on the unemployment line, but we want those people to do entry-level positions. We want those people to fill the HVAC positions, the plumbing positions. We want them to get a trade and then maybe advance to something else. But you've got to start, and it's going to take decades to do. We need to make these changes now. So yes, we're going to have to bring some people in. We don't want to do it, but just like we didn't want to buy beef from Venezuela, I'm here to do the tough things that America needs to have done that don't necessarily want to have done. That's how you answer that question. You don't do what you just did. No, we don't have any talent in the United States. Although I understand what he's saying, everyone's going to use that as a talking point. So He's right. He's wrong the way he said it. Yep. But that's typical Trump. I mean, Trump says shit all the time that I'm like, oh my God, dude, would you please let me talk for you? Kimberly Jurgemeyer donated 15. Thanks for a beacon of honesty. Appreciate you. Kimmy, we appreciate you too. Thank you so much for your donation. Matt, test try multi-part shorts of Tim B. If you review it in longer form, maybe release both versions too. Huh? I'm confused. Mike, help me understand what that is. It's me. I can't process. Have you seen our K through 12 test scores? They keep lowering the standards. Yes, I have. Yes, and I also saw in Illinois that not one person, I believe, passed their 8th grade equivalency test in the entire state of Illinois.
Are you serious? That's scary.
Yeah. Jennifer McCarver donated $10. Let's go. Facebook viewers, small donations will get us to goal. Yes, it will. And we would appreciate it. Like I said, we want to overdrive because we missed last night. Jasmine Crockett just gets absolutely roasted and obliterated. So Jasmine Crockett has been fundraising to run for Senate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because her seat's going to be eliminated in the redistricting of Texas.
Okay.
And she is spending oodles of money on high-priced hotels, the Ritz-Carlton during her stops. She's going all over the country. And instead of using these campaign funds, you guys just please ignore this guy. Just ignore him. I've ignored him. If I can do it, why can't you? Ignore him. It's not hard. So watch this video and then I'll come back. But she gets cooked. And this woman is going to fall the way of getting her ass arrested. Listen to this.
The hog right now. And for a woman who is openly flirting with trying to run for Texas Senate seat against Senator either John Cornyn or whoever comes out of that primary, you are seeing a woman who's not spending an awful lot of time in Texas. That whole list of places she's been living high on the hog, I didn't see anything mentioning Dallas or Houston
Not been in
or
Amarillo.
Laredo or Amarillo. Right. She's all across the country making sure that she is getting taken care of, that her nails look fabulous, and that she is sounding off however she wants to. The hog right now. And for a woman who is
total
openly
spending
flirting with
$75,000. Ritz-Carlton for the hood rat. And yes, I'm calling her a hood rat because that's what she wants to be. 4,175, 2,304 luxury collection.
And for a woman who is openly Texas
West
Senate,
Hollywood, 5,000, 1,173 Times Square edition, 2,000 Cosmopolitan and Area Resort, the Edgerton,
primary,
the Cocoa, the Transportation 4 limo service, DCA car ride, BA limousine, security. All right, I'll give her security. In this day and age, you got to have security. But Liv, what do you think of that? I mean, she's using campaign funds. How do we have 243 people on? What just took place?
I have no idea.
Wow, somebody caught wind of the show because it just blew up. Holy crap. Twitter's going off. Go ahead.
I don't think that she should be using campaign funds for staying at 5-star hotels. And here's the other thing. You're trying to go for Senate in Texas. You should not be campaigning in New York and California and other cities. You should be campaigning in Texas because the people in New York and California are not going to be voting for you. Just my 2 cents.
I agree with you. And listen, let's get her for FEC violations. Mr. Holiday's 3116. Matt is straight shooting tonight. Yes, I am. 275 is where we're at. Thank you guys so much for hitting our goal. We have 13 minutes. We're not done. Here's John Fetterman, who I am quietly starting to love. Remember, I have always supported John Fetterman in the sense that I've said that he was a classic liberal. He was a blue dog Democrat. He was not a leftist and never demonstrated being a leftist. And I told you he was going to beat the pants off of Mohammed Oz. And he did beat the pants off Mohammed Oz because Mohammed Oz was about as phony as a $3 bill and more left than John Fetterman ever was. I mean, Mohammed Oz believed in transgenderism and surgeries for kids. He wanted to ban guns and abortions. John Fetterman, or not Fetterman, but Mohammed Oz literally changed his entire stances when he ran in Pennsylvania as for Senate. So I told you he was a bad case and a horrible person to pick. Fetterman has actually demonstrated that it's the best of both worlds here. Now, do I trust him? No, not completely, but I trust him to be on the right side of the issues that really matter. And in this case, he seems to be. Watch this. Sunny Hosta, whatever the hell her face is, from The View decided to go after him, and Fetterman tore her up.
It was a horrific mistake. Governor Gavin Newsom called it pathetic and a surrender. Poll after poll found more Americans on both sides of the aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed the GOP. As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing to gamble that the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens? Because if that gamble is wrong, 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong.
Dude, Fetterman, can I just say this? This is
annoyed.
Well, this is a big thing on X. It's called black fatigue, and it's very low-key racist. But people do this where they'll see a white person fighting a black guy and knocks him out and goes, it's black fatigue. It is racist. But John Fetterman definitely looks like he has the View fatigue because he just looks like he has no to give at all. Zero, none. Watch this.
And I believe you are wrong.
Well, first of all, MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values from. And now, if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them. And now I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations. And a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win, is involving my state and other states and those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election. Or now, for me, it's like, that's why I'm trying to remind people that kinds of the extremism, we can't return to those kind of things and realize we need to find a way forward. And I would like to, rather than cite MTG, I'm going to cite one of the new governor-elects saying that my election is not a green light to continue the shutdown, because I promise you this isn't a political game. It is viewed by many of us, but the reality is 42 million Americans now not sure where their next meal is going to come from. And because we vote like that. Or people that haven't been paid for 5 weeks now and that kinds of chaos. Those workers have to borrow more than $500 million, from their credit union just to pay their bills now. So for me, we're in the middle of this.
Senator, I got to ask you to hold up a
Why? Because he answered your damn question. Hey guys, Liv is going to leave here in a few minutes, and she's doing donations, and I don't think I can keep up and keep doing the show. 265 people on. So if we could just hit it and get this thing out of the way, I'd appreciate it. Because she's got to take off. $5.65 from Debbie. Deborah McLaughlin, you guys are on fire. Love it. What's up, baby?
I gotta go.
Okay.
But I will.
It was
I'm
a
assuming you're
horrific
gonna be
mistake.
on
It
when I
is
get
view
back, so
stream, and I'll remember.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, if we have time.
Okay. Love y'all. Night, y'all. If you're on, I'll be back.
Awesome. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too, babe. Okay. Livy's gone. Bye, Liv. That sucks. Okay. So I got to show you this. And my good friend Barry Morgenstein, who just released his book, Rock and Soul. If you have not had a chance, please go and get it. Type in Rock and Soul on Amazon. It is one of the Amazon choices. It is selling like hotcakes all over the country. It is beautiful, amazing artwork. We're going to be at Barry's Saturday party, his release party for this. And we're going to go and I'm going to bring the book and have a bunch of people sign it and stuff. And we'll take some photos and maybe some video and stream over there. We're really excited. And Barry has a lot of high-end friends. So we're so excited to meet his friends. And there's been so many people who have come on the show just because they know Barry, and he's been a huge help for us. We love him. Please go to Ballast Books, or you can go to Amazon and pick up the Rock and Soul book. He's autographing copies. And all the way in the back, yours truly is mentioned in the Don't Unfriend Me show, so we're kind of excited about that. But Megyn Kelly and Barry just did an interview, and I'm not here to trample on on Megyn Kelly. Barry knows Megyn Kelly. He knows Tucker Carlson. He's photographed some of the most prominent people in the world, especially on the Republican side. He's incredible. And he would never do this. So I want to make sure you understand is that this comes from me. And I love Megyn Kelly. Like I have low-key crush on Megyn Kelly. I think she's beautiful. I think she's smart. She's passionate. And I really like her. And I didn't go after her for hitting Trump. And I'm not going to go after her for sticking up. I think she's making some mistakes. And that's okay. She gets to make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. Ask my parents. They made one for sure. But I want her to stop and get back to the Megyn Kelly that's not who I want her to be, but who she is. And she is an investigative journalist and a lawyer, and she's excellent at it. And she litigates the truth like nobody's business, and she uncovers it. I said today in my video that I want these people to get back to doing it, and I feel like I'm the only one doing it.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Everyone that I look at, from Officer Tatum to Tucker to Ben to Megyn Kelly, the Hodge twins, PPD, even Nick Fuentes is annoying the hell out of me because everybody is just doing the same crap. They're just talking about Jews, and they're talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination. It's like, guys, can you do anything else? And it's not that we haven't had this for 2 years. You've been talking about Israel for 2 years. Can we talk about something else? If you're America first, why are we just the Gossip Girl? And this very much reminds me of Gossip Girl. And these people are prominent. These people are very important to the success of the conservative movement. They have an obligation to, don't they remember what they were supposed to do is pick up the torch to sit in Charlie's chair? Isn't that what they promised to do? And what are they doing? They're fighting with pontification and supposition, with vitriol coming out of their mouths, and they're just loosing their arrows on each other. This isn't what Charlie would do. Charlie didn't go after other people in his own party. He told the truth. And you guys are just like, I'm with Crowder, man. Crowder and I are shoulder to shoulder. Call us the boomers, I guess. I mean, Crowder's not a boomer and I'm not a boomer, but I guess anyone who speaks out and says, you know, enough of the stupid debate bros. What is up with this? You debate me, man. You got to debate me. What are you bunch of fucking petulant teenagers? What is that going to prove? It's not going to do anything for our cause. Unify. Get liberals on your show and break them down. Break down what they're doing. Talk about their lies. Do what we did tonight. Call out both sides. Do some journalism. Do the things that you say you are. Have some political discourse. But debating our own people? What benefit is Ben Shapiro talking to Nick Fuentes going to do? I don't need to debate Nick Fuentes to know he's a degenerate dick. And he's fake. He's completely fake. That's who he is. And I know Ben can be fake. And I know Megyn can be fake. And hell, I guess I can be fake too. But what I'm not doing is garnering clicks off of Charlie Kirk's death. What the hell's wrong with you people? So this is the video I released today. We're going to watch this, and then I'm going to watch you some stuff about Candace Owens and where Megyn Kelly got it wrong. And she most assuredly did. And she did what she shouldn't do. She wasn't involved, and then she got involved, and she didn't do her homework. And receipts are all over this, and I'm going to hit because I've been covering. Megyn, I love you, but you haven't been covering this. So you walk in here, and you all of a sudden take Candace Owens' side, and you're wrong. You're dead wrong. Here's the video real quick this morning, and then we'll play the other videos I have. Here you go.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I was just thinking about a movie, White Men Can't Jump, with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, and not one of my favorite movies, but there's a tagline in there where Wesley Snipes is talking to Woody Harrelson, and they're talking about music, and I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially says, you listen to Hendrix, but you can't hear Hendrix. And a Master Chief mentor of mine told me the same thing. He said the loudest people, the craziest people are usually the ones that people listen to, but rarely hear. And I think it's important in today's climate of politics and social media. You know, I will admit I have talked about Candace and Tucker and Ben Shapiro and the Charlie Kirk drama and Erica Kirk drama and Macron and France and all of this. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just simply look up Candace and Jews. You'll figure it out. But the one thing that I realized is that at 51 years old, I still have to get my information from somewhere. And where I would rely on it and go to for the most consistent information is no longer there. In fact, when I watch Megyn Kelly or Tucker or Candace, I don't hear anything about geopolitics. I don't hear anything about our government or military institutions or the economy. All I hear about is who knew Charlie Kirk better? Who's more trustworthy and who should give me their clicks because I have a video or a text that nobody saw and shouldn't see because it was private, but I'm going to go ahead and release it so I get more internet clout. None of these things interest me. And I'm honestly bored. I want to hear about policy. I want to know what's going to happen to housing prices. I want to know where my kid's going to live. Because
we just hit goal. Thank you, Brenda. We appreciate you so much for helping us out and hitting that. Folks, we're still going to overdrive. We'd love to stay on a little bit tonight and keep going. So here we go.
If you haven't seen the recent statistics, a person can get into a house at 30 or 20 or 40. That's fine. But they're saying that people can't afford the houses they live in on average in the United States until they're 61 years old. That is absolutely incredible. And when I look at my own home, I realize this is true. I'm 51. And in 10 years, I don't know if it's going to get any better. I want to know that geopolitics, that the world is going to be stabilized. I want to know that the border is going to be secure. I want to not live in fear that my entire state went blue in the recent election. What's going to happen next? None of these other things interest me. In fact, I realize that they may be the loudest, they may be talking the most, but maybe I shouldn't listen to them. Maybe I should be finding my sources from other places. So today I just looked up property values, housing prices, and Ron DeSantis came up, a person who has implemented amazing policies in Florida. And I'm honestly considering to move there. And this clip I can get behind. This is the conversation that needs to take place. And maybe 50-year loans and 15-year car loans are not the answer. But at least Donald Trump is trying. At least we're making an attempt. We're not just screaming the loudest and being crazy with our plans and knowing that they'll fail. Listen to this from Ron DeSantis. Tell me what you think. This is something I can get behind.
From the property tax situation. It's very important given how that's pinched so many homeowners, particularly our senior citizens who have their homes paid off and they bought it 30 years ago for a certain amount. Now they're being told it's worth so much more and they have to pony up more and more money. It's almost like they have to pay rent to the government just to be able to enjoy their property. And that's wrong. We need to do something about it.
Drop it hard.
Isaac Castillo donated $21.10. Thank you so much. I'm trying to do double duty. There's two of them that looks like a couple of them I haven't gotten in yet. I'm going to try to get to those, but we got to continue to do the show. The left goes to sleep when Dems are in office. The only time they have the ability to call it a crime is when the Dems lose the presidency. Yeah, Isaac, completely agree with you 120%, man. They are a piece of work. Their willingness to be deceitful in pursuit of their goals is absolutely wild. Christine, I see yours, and I also know Lois is there. We're going to try to get those in here as soon as I can. I want to say thank you for your donations so far, folks. It is. Had a comment from Matt Brightigan. It says, Ben Shapiro is an effing dumbass. I don't think I would call Ben Shapiro a dumbass. I think that's hyperbole. I think Ben Shapiro is wrong a lot. I think Ben Shapiro was on the wrong side of Trump in 2016. He was wrong on COVID and the vaccines. He was wrong about Russia and Ukraine. And I think, honestly, he is a little biased when it comes to Israel. I think he does not exude America first to me a lot. And I believe he puts Israel first a lot of ways. But there's also some misnomers. Some things that people have said is that Ben doesn't stand up to Israel and he only promotes Israel's policies. That's not true. He has called out AIPAC several times. It's a U.S.-based company, by the way. It's not an Israel company, even though they do raise money and have Israelis' interest by heart. But he also has said that that Israeli government needs to disassociate and detach itself from its military funding from the United States. And he's railed for that many, many times. But Ben Shapiro's not a dumbass, and he's Mensa, and I would challenge you to compare your credentials to him. And it doesn't mean that because he's book smart, he's street smart. I maybe that's something you might want to say, is that he's detached and he's rich and he's not from the streets and he's a little bit of an elitist. Okay, I'm with you. But a dumbass, I think that's just trivial, and it's just you kicking sand in his face. But no, he's not dumb at all. I think he's wrong a lot. And he has been very disingenuous with Israel. I agree with you. But there's been some things that they've said that he's all Israel first and he wants to keep America fun. And that's not true. Ben believes that Israel needs to establish itself and break free from U.S. funding. And I happen to agree with him. Matt, do you think we're close to a civil war, and what would that look like? No, I don't think. I think Americans are cowards most of the time and don't have the compunction or passion to propagate war against the other. I think they like to talk shit. I think they like to throw rocks. I think they'll do it from afar and throw them from 50 feet away like bottles of ice. But when the rounds fly, they'll shit their pants and they'll run. I don't think we're close to civil war. I think we're closer to something like urban and suburb type conflicts or small towns. I think if the inner city starts bringing its fight to the small towns, you're going to see some pushback. But no, I don't consider it that we're close to civil war. You guys should check out AIPAC Tracker. I have. It's a U.S.-based company. FARA does not qualify. They're just like the American Tobacco Studies. They're just like Planned Parenthood, the NRA, Big Oil, Commodities and Stocks, Energy. They're a PAC, and they're a U.S.-based PAC. And they're funded by Israeli Jews who are Americans. And that may bother you or don't bother you, but I want all PACs gone. I don't know why we have to always focus on the Jews. Why can't we focus on Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Japan? Why can't we get rid of the NRA? Why can't we get rid of Planned Parenthood? Why can't we get rid of Big Tobacco, Meat Packers Association, the unions, school boards, all PACs? Why can't they all go away? Why don't we stop buying politicians for policy? Why don't we go ahead and send politicians home? When they're in session, pay them, and then don't pay them again. It should be a voluntary. Make it voluntary. Don't pay them anything, and watch how quickly we go ahead and weed out all the shitbags, and we get the people who are actually decent, who want to represent an idea and not represent an entire state or a county or a district. That's not what they were designed for. They were designed to come in, focus on their town or municipality or district, take a piece of legislation, whether it be farming rights or tax dequivalency or whatever it would be, and they would go to the government and they would petition based upon their constituents. They would vote, they would write legislation, and they would leave and come back and tell everyone, hey, we got it, or hey, we lost. And then they wouldn't go back. That's what we need. But I'm not going to just focus on the Jews. Stupid. Of course the Jews want to influence American politics. They get $330 billion over the last 60 years from us. 1/3 of $1 trillion is a lot of money. I would continue to keep doing that too. Why wouldn't they? But so does every other country. People don't talk about Saudi money. They don't talk about money from China. They don't talk about money from Japan. They don't talk about Qatar. They don't talk about UAE. They don't talk about Congo. Congo invests in the United States. They have a pact. Kenya has a pact. I don't just focus on the Jews. Because if I focus on the Jews, then I'm not focused on the problem. I'm focused on a group of people and their ethnic or theologic principles. And I don't focus on ethnicity or theological principles. I focus on people. If they are a drain to my country and they damage my country, then I'm going to single them out based on the collective, not the individual. We shouldn't do that as a group either. The individual rights are the most paramount. So if Qatar has a right to do it, and the Congo has a right to do it, and Big Tobacco has a right to do it, then the Jews have a right to do it. If you don't like it, change the law. But we won't. We'll continue to allow Citizen United to have corporations have free speech, even though they shouldn't. They already have free speech as individuals. They don't need collective rights. Starbucks has no bearing whatsoever on our political process, and they shouldn't get a voice. If the CEO wants a voice, then do it as an individual and petition the government like you're allowed to through freedom of speech. You don't do it as a collective. Citizens United is a fucking scam. It was designed to keep Republicans up with Democrats who are raising money from the elitists. Well, Republicans don't need to do that anymore. They've dominated social media. They have an amazing fundraising campaign. Donald Trump has collected 71 million emails. They've got a massive foundation. They don't need to do it. So cut the fucking Democrats loose. You want to bankrupt the Democrat Party? Repeal Citizens United. Their fundraising will go, it'll go in the toilet. They're almost bankrupt. Crush them. Repeal Citizens United. Yes, the Republicans will lose 40, 50% of their overall revenue, but it still is going to be 40, 50% more revenue than the Democrats have. Folks, I've been doing this my whole life. And I don't need notes, and I don't need ChatGPT. All I need is this. And when this goes, you might as well snuff me out, because then I'm not worth anything. But I'll tell you what, I know my shit, and I know what I'm talking about. That's why I do this show. And maybe one day we'll get picked up. I doubt it. I doubt it. And I'll tell you why I doubt it. It's because I don't think people want to hear the truth. They want people who can convincingly sell advertisements for whatever channel they're on. And I have people turn it off. But I'll tell you what, this is happening a lot where, boom, we'll just get 300-400 viewers who are chiming in and they go, who's this guy? What are they talking about? Who's this Leroy person? Who's Amy? Who's Leroy? That's what we need to do. And you have to keep coming back, because you're not going to get this anywhere else. And the more that these big channels do this, the more people are going to come watch me. Keep it up. Keep it up. I want them to keep doing this because it's helping my business. Here's Megyn Kelly talking about Tucker Carlson. I already thanked a couple of those donations ahead of time, so I'm going to put them through while we're watching this. But watch this. This is Tucker. And remember, Megyn Kelly just said, hey, I don't even know Candace Owens. She's not even a friend of mine. In fact, Charlie Kirk and I weren't very good friends. We never went to dinner. We just met at events and stuff, but we weren't very good friends. Well, if he's not a good friend of yours, and Candace Owens isn't a good friend of yours, then why are you getting involved? Why are you releasing this video? I thought she went last week and said, I don't know anything about this. I don't even have the time to get involved in this. I don't even research any of this. Well, then why are you talking about it? Because some of us have been talking about it for 2 years, warning people about Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and who they are. More Candace. Like, I'm okay with Tucker. I'm okay with him questioning Israel. I'm okay with what he's doing. That's fine. You can do that. He's not Nick Fuentes. And Tucker Carlson, although he platforms some real dickheads, I'm not completely abandoned on Tucker Carlson. But I am going to tell you that the guy has talked about Jews 840 times in 6 months. That's a lot. That's a lot. And that's all you're talking about. Here's Megyn backing him up. And then I'll show you Candace, where she actually did accuse TPUSA and Erica inadvertently, because Candace always does it. She's getting sued by France, for God's sakes. She's learned to use the legal conversation, but we know what she's implying, and I'm going to show you why. Here's the video. Watch this.
Epstein clearly had contact with Israeli intelligence and American intelligence and French intelligence, but the only one you're not allowed to talk about is Israeli intelligence. But it seemed true to me, and I had done some work on that. I knew a bunch of people pretty close to that story, so I thought that. And I said that to Charlie, and I said, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want to make your donors mad. I know it's just going to be like an endless flurry of text telling you to stop or you're going to lose a bunch of funding. And he looked at me, I'll never forget it, and said, go all the way. Do it. Go all the way. I said, man, a lot of things I can talk about. I don't need to talk about that. And he said, do it. So I did it.
And here's the thing, Stu. I was recently going through some old pictures to find one of me and Charlie that I knew we took at that event. And not only did I find pictures of me and Charlie, but I found a video of
How
me,
convenient.
Tucker, and Charlie speaking backstage right before Tucker went out. Tucker and I were talking. Charlie
you, Lois.
came over and interrupted for just a second. And you can hear him on this tape, which I've listened to many times. It's very clear on my phone, less clear here. Probably
Thank you, Lois,
play
very
it,
much.
But he says to Tucker, go Max. He interrupts the conversation because he has to say to Tucker something. And what was so important to him to tell Tucker was, go Max. Here it is.
Go Max.
It's quick. It just happens to be on tape. And it backs up what Tucker said.
No, it doesn't.
And so I just think...
No, it doesn't.
We need to be realistic. Charlie...
By not being realistic.
...understood what was happening to the conservative movement over Israel. He probably understood it better than any of us because he absolutely loved Israel. And yet he represented and was of young people. He was young. That was his constituency. That's where he spent all of his time. And he knew that even on the right side of the aisle, they had turned and were turning on Israel. And knowing all of that, he told Tucker to go out there and do all the things Tucker did. Go.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay, I'll address this.
Max, he said. Now, why did he do that? Because he knew there was a faction within the conservative movement that needed a voice. They needed somebody to put their thoughts and their complaints and their objections into words in a public setting and not just cede the whole argument to the other side, which has been dominated.
Robert Stubblefield donated $4.99. Says, great show, already a huge fan. Thanks, Robert. We love that our YouTube people are coming in. We really appreciate it. We're going to keep going, man. You guys are making me feel much better. I was just kind of a little down in the dumps and like, God, we just want to get that break. But you know what? Who cares? As long as you guys keep watching, that's all that really matters to us. We don't want to go global, and we don't think we will. Well, we already global. We have quite a few people who watch all over the country, but you know what I'm talking about. Once you get big, you get corporations, and we don't want to be. We want to control what we say. So here's the rest.
Eating conservative thought and media forever. The Mark Levins of the world. And so it's one of the many reasons why I really object to this attempt to otherize, snuff out the voice of Tucker Carlson. Charlie knew exactly where Tucker stood on these issues and wanted him, and I quote, to go Max. The answer to what is happening right now on the conservative half of the aisle is not to silence Tucker, to diminish him to the point where he doesn't have followers. Not that that's possible, you lunatics. Or to try to delegitimize Tucker. If anything, Tucker is a remaining voice for Charlie.
All right. Listen, you're good, babe. We're good. Just if you get any donations, let me know. You can shut down your TVs. We're almost done. Listen. If Megyn Kelly says that's true, then I have to believe Megyn Kelly, right? But just because Charlie Kirk, you guys know that Charlie Kirk was inviting people who were absolutely anti-Zionist to TPUSA events. Why wouldn't he? That's like saying we're mad at him for bringing people who are pro-abortion. Why? That's what Charlie did. He always face the opposition. Maybe Charlie was softening on Israel. A lot of people have been. Who cares? Does that mean that he was going to abandon Israel? No, he was pissed off that they took $100 million away from him. Or $1 million. What was it, $1 million? $1 million, not $100 million. Somebody, I don't remember the number. I'm at an impasse. Maybe it was $1 million, $10 million. Maybe it was $100 million. I don't know. It was a lot of money. And a Jewish sponsor said, we're pulling the money. And that pissed him off. That pissed me off too. Of course that would piss me off. But you can't speak for a dead man. Dead men tell no tales. It's only the people who are living. And they always misrepresent what the dead man's saying. I think this is a disgrace. It's a dishonor. Who's that from?
It's the ones you've already put in.
Yeah. I think it's a dishonor, guys. I think it's wrong. I think Charlie Kirk spoke for himself, and we should listen to his testament. And we know what he said about Israel. We know the things that he said about Israel. We know that he was frustrated with the PR. We saw the 7-page document. I read it to you when he literally laid out what Israel could do to earn its reputation back with young people. That's not somebody who abandoned Israel. He was trying to help them. But he did not like the way that the war was prosecuted. He does not like the way that Netanyahu was communicating. And there's a lot of people in Israel who don't like Netanyahu. I have friends who live in Israel who absolutely are conservative, who don't like Netanyahu. And I know people who love Netanyahu. And Charlie has a right to say those things. But that doesn't mean you know everything about him. And Megyn Kelly is now getting involved in this. And I would highly recommend she does it. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you again. Here is... Okay, there's two things. You guys, I think everyone believes what I'm saying and understands what I'm saying, but Candace Owens doesn't like Jews. You just need to understand this. Her beef with Ben Shapiro has nothing to do with any other things than the two. Robert Stubblefield donated $4.99 through Super Chat again. Is that twice? Thank you, Robert. She hates Ben Shapiro for two reasons. One is because she's a liberal, and she's always been a liberal her entire life. She doesn't like Trump. She has completely castigated Trump aside now. And the second thing is because he's Jew. And she has completely bought into that Jews run everything and Jews are bad and all this other stuff. So here it is. Here's her. I showed this before, but this is Harvey Weinstein. That's right. Harvey, I touch everybody Weinstein, and trade sexual favors for prominent positions in Hollywood. Listen to how she tries to turn Harvey Weinstein to say it was the Jews. She does everything she can. And I want to show this to you because this is going to show you the next video where Candace outs herself and it proves Megyn Kelly wrong. Here's the video. Michael says, I'll listen to Erica about Charlie before I listen to Megyn. Me too, brother. Or more Candace.
But have you considered that it could be deeper, that there was somebody who wanted you put away, that there may have been someone who wanted your company? Because to me, there is just overwhelming evidence that you were set up here.
Robert says, 25 years of podcast listening here. Keep it up. This is what people want. All right, man. Thank you for telling us that. We're getting better. We're getting better every day. We're drinking milk.
Looks to me like a modern day hit. I don't know who you upset. I don't know what they were after, but it just looks to me like a rigged system and they took you out. To me, it looks like it was just a show trial and the outcome was already determined before you even stepped into that courtroom. I do think that you stepped on somebody's toes. Like there's somebody's toes that you stepped on that you may not have been aware of when you were in Hollywood because you had a lot of power. You had a lot of power.
You know, I can't say who.
Why not? Why can't you say who? What do you have to lose?
Because I'm not sure that I'm right. You
say, I think. Maybe. I really want to push you on this point, Harvey, because I think it's very significant.
You're on. She's doing everything she can to get him to say the word Jew. No, I'm going to push you on this point and just watch Harvey just completely. This is Harvey Weinstein. She thinks he's innocent, by the way. She doesn't think that. She just wants him to blame the Jews.
The greatest movies that were in Hollywood, you had a lot of power. And I'm wondering if there was anybody in Hollywood that you may have been fighting with at that time that just anything that could have been going on, because I think there's something bigger happening here.
There wasn't a fight per se, but the establishment, I would not say, was my friends.
Right. And what is the establishment in Hollywood?
It's normally the big...
Harvey, let me phrase this in jeopardy. What are the Jews?
Studios, but I can't say that they were part of this.
Right. No, I'm just...
Tom says, Matt, do you have any Israeli citizen viewers? It'd be great to get one or more of them on the show to teach us about what they believe and think about what is going on over there. I do. And none of them will come on the show because they are all in positions where they can't come on my show. So that's, I do have several Israeli fans, and I have several Israeli friends who watch the show. But they are not in positions to come on the show. As far as any of the fans, if they want to, that's up to them. I don't know them personally. I just know that we get quite a few viewers from Israel. But we do have a couple of my friends who are sources for the show and help out with connecting the dots, which is how we came up with some interesting information when it came to the cell phone pagers and broke that story and showed you how they channeled those and how long they've been working on that nobody else was talking about. We knew. There's reasons why. But no. I would love to. So any Jewish listeners, call in. We don't care. We've got listeners everywhere. We got listeners in Iraq and Kuwait. We've got people in Africa. South Africa actually listens to our show. We have people in Luxembourg, Hong Kong, India. We have listeners all over the place. It's kind of cool. All right.
Wondering, like, who in the end, who owns all those movies now? Who owns your catalog? What happened to your company?
We sold the catalog to a company called Be-In, you know what I mean, which is owned by the Qatari government. And
interesting.
And we sold the other part of the library to a company called Spyglass and Lantern, which is owned by the Saudi Arabian government.
Very interesting. I'm asking these questions because my investigation into this isn't going to stop.
Isn't going as well as I want.
Objection, leading the witness.
Oh my God, totally. So here you go. Steven Crowder, my good buddy who doesn't know me at all. We seem to be like simpatico. I got to get a hold of Steven Crowder because when we launched, like the election night of 2020, that's when we really started growing, and it was Crowder and I on. He had 10 million people watching. I had 3,000, but it was cool. Here you go. Here's Candace Owens. This is also from Milk Bar TV. If you don't follow Milk Bar, there's some great stuff. But you tell me what you think. Listen, who do you think she's accusing here? Take a listen to this. Folks, donations, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for overdriving tonight since we missed last night. We appreciate you, and thank you for filling the gap. We have donations that are still open, and here is where I challenge Megyn Kelly. Watch this. Might need to leave. Twitter's been acting weird.
To Trump into politics, and they just were like, nope. My heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump into politics, and they just were like, nope, that is it. It serves us or it doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday. Bro, if they try to give me a holiday, what is with them giving people a holiday after they kill them? Why is that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, Martin Luther King, what about this holiday? What about this boulevard? Anyways, let me knock it off. Like, they're going to give Charlie Kirk a boulevard. They already did. They did in Israel. They gave him freaking boulevard. It's like, as soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday, they definitely killed you. Okay, there's no question. They killed you. There's no way. That's like their signature thing. It's like, that's what they do. It's the Fed signature. It's when they sign off after they murder you. You're like holiday and a boulevard. And it's never on a nice side of town either. Like Charlie Kirk Boulevard is not going to be a nice side of town. Anyways, I will be back on the 27th, you guys. Thank you guys for all the support throughout these couple of weeks, these last really kind of 6 weeks since Charlie died. And we will see you guys then.
Well, let me first be tactful here and tell you that outrageous claims, and this is an outrageous claim, require outrageous evidence.
That's right.
Of course, as is par for the course, none has been presented. And I know that there might be an out, a weaseling here saying, oh, well, I said the Fed, not the Trump administration. I said a boulevard in Israel. It's pretty clear, not clear. What she said was they, the Fed, give you a boulevard when that's a sure sign that they have killed you. You know that they have killed you. He was betrayed in the worst way possible.
So there is just an accusation from here. And then I can show you plenty of texts where she has made comments in regards to, here are some examples. This is Marina Medvin. She's a law student, I believe. She's Jewish. I've been following her for quite a while. And some of these might be taken out of context a little bit, but you still got to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like it when people clip stuff without videos. So, but this is fairly evident.
Please tag Megyn Kelly and TPUSA.
I started reading him. He died. I went in and I started going through his diaries. I was reading the last few pages and everything else. She said, I started reading him. She said, he left me the plans for 2028. He left me the budgets for the future. He said, he left this for me. And she is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, TPUSA is in really good hands, I think, with her.
What do you hope to achieve for Charlie and for the country?
Oh my goodness. All of his wildest dreams for this organization and more. He left me a blueprint and all of his journals, but more so.
But wait, Charlie, wasn't he like a boy genius? He's a pretty bright kid. Wouldn't he have maybe formalized that succession plan outside of like a diary? Maybe call one of his many lawyers? Maybe formalize it in a will, because that's what you're supposed to do if you are thinking about dying and you need to make a plan. You make a will. I'm sure he had a will, but no, he wanted to put it in these notebooks. And then the plan was to guilt us, I think, to try to haunt us with the ghost of Charlie's notebooks that we're never going to be allowed to read, but we're supposed to accept that they most definitely read, like for sure. That's what it feels like. Do you agree? I think their thought process was it will be much easier for us to control the spirit of Charlie Kirk than the actual living, breathing Charlie Kirk. I am telling you guys, when we go back and we look at the calendar and we see that request went out in mid-July, it drives me insane. It just screams at me that this was an inside job, okay? It reeks of an inside job. That is how I feel. And the more that we learn about the story, the little changes that happen, the inexplicable things that we're learning, it becomes clearer and clearer that somehow at some layer, at some stage, Turning Point USA is involved because they're giving us no clarity. I want you to imagine you get a phone call, okay, from whoever saying that the person that you love most in this world and the person that you are married to has been shot. How fast are you getting off that phone? You're staying on the phone. You're asking questions. There's a series of questions that need to be answered. You scream. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Where is he? Where do I go? Blah, 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 blah. Is he okay? There are a litany of questions that would be asked. And please don't tell me that this is some situation where that wouldn't be the circumstance. I am so tired of you wouldn't know what you would do. I do know that you're asking a series of questions. I need clarification because every day that goes on, it feels to me like Turning Point is engaged in a cover-up. And there's no other way to say this. There's no other ways. I don't care who at Turning Point tweets. I literally do not care. I will breathe fire on all of you. I know how these events work. Why was this event confirmed so quickly when it was requested so late? Answer these questions. I need answers to these questions to understand what happened on that day. Be very explicit, okay? I want war with all of you. Because I know this isn't right. And there's no way you are going to convince me and the rest of the world that all of this is normal. We're not just going to keep on going and jump into a succession plan. We're going to figure out what the hell happened on September 10th first. And I'm going to tell you guys, Charlie had a vision. Charlie Kirk did in fact know that Turning Point was going to be the death of him. And I approve of that. He also knew that I was the only person who was going to step up to defend him after he was gone. That sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
Megyn Kelly, sometimes I guess the best advice I could give, and with the utmost respect, because you're hotter than just about any other human being outside my wife, and you're the only blonde I think is pretty. When you don't know what you're talking about, maybe your mouth is best used for chewing. And you're backing the wrong horse. Charlie Kirk, all of her messages, look at them. They're all 2017. They are not even remotely close to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Charlie Kirk he estranged himself from Candace. TPUSA has estranged themselves from Candace. Everybody who touches Candace flees. Even Nick Fuentes was kind of like, dude, what a bitch. Like, she completely sabotaged me. I went on her show and she completely treated me like shit. And now he jokes around that Candace is in love with him and she wants him to make his love baby, his mocha colored love baby. And I think good for Nick. You know, like I said, Nick is a jerk, but I would at least treat him with respect on my show. Candace she has fallen into her success. And I hate to say this. I really do. I hate to say this. I think people watch Candace because she is batshit crazy. And I think she has a very large fan base. I really do. I think she has millions of people who love her, and no matter what she says, they'll believe. But I think a lot of people watch her just to like see the wheels fall off.
How crazy she is, how far she's willing to go.
Yep.
Now, Charlie was 31 years old.
Right.
Why would he have a will? And if I'm not,
well, because he's worth millions of dollars.
I don't think he was thinking of dying, as you so eloquently said there. And I understand, but a will usually has your material possessions and your insurance and stuff like that. Usually your will doesn't have your thoughts and ideas for your company. But I mean,
listen, it's not that Charlie didn't love Candace. In fact, there was a very good relationship that they had. But as Candace leaves a wake of destruction wherever she goes, she burns every bridge. And dude, she's nuts. Alex Jones had millions of fans. Just because, listen, I've got 341,000 followers. If I pump bots into my show, we'd have 10,000 people watching. There are plenty of people who do it. And it's lucrative. It's very, very lucrative. But if you look at the people who pump bots into their show, they're not making money on Facebook. They're making money off donations. Benny Johnson does it off donations. Nick Fuentes does it off donations. All the big ones who have these incredible numbers, they do donations. Now, or they have huge corporate sponsors like Megyn Kelly, like Tucker Carlson. Candace, I'm just going to say this. I've been doing marketing for a long time. And organically, for me to grow to 341,000 in 5 years, that's pretty good. But for me to sit here and say that some of it isn't advertising would be an absolute lie. Of course it is. In no way, shape, or form do I compare myself to Candace or Ben Shapiro, but I will tell you there's nights where we've beat Ben Shapiro. We get ranked, and we have like people who are in our demographic who we get ranked against Ben Shapiro, we get ranked against Crowder, we get ranked against the Hodge twins, and we get ranked against everybody. And there are plenty of times where we beat Ben Shapiro. There's no reason I should ever beat Ben Shapiro. But if you take a look at the ratio of followers to the ratio of content, look at Benny Johnson's 2 million followers, but he's got 30,000 people watching. How? When he makes a post, it's got 3,000, 10,000 likes within minutes. How? I make a lot of posts. Olivia can tell you, and we do very well. We get millions and millions. I mean, we've had posts go to 40 million people. It takes weeks. That's not a 2-minute thing. It's not the way the algorithm works. On our list, less than 0.02% of my list actually sees my content when I post it. It's just the way Facebook works. There's not enough screen time for everybody. So when you hear, oh, well, Candace Owens is #1 on podcasts, well, how much money is being pumped into advertising? How many bots is she buying? Look at Joe Rogan. Well, Joe Rogan is extremely successful. There's no doubt about it. He's amazing, but he also has an advertising firm. And when you put $20,000 a day in advertising, you're going to get results. So anyway, okay. So I got my disk space is full, so I got to go ahead, talk fast because I got to delete some stuff.
I was going to say that I thought that Candace said that she was going after all the shows, didn't matter how small they were, that have been talking anything negative about her. I'm still waiting for her to contact us.
Yeah, because I've been hitting her like
crazy.
Or
say something about us on her show, because you know, I'm still waiting for it, Candace. I thought you were serious, but apparently you're not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she sees this, and if she did, I don't think she would respond.
Well, somebody watches her show. Somebody from her staff watches our show. We already know that.
Well, there's somebody. We know people from Fox watch our show. We know people watch the show. I
would love to have a debate with her.
I just want Candace to say this. Do you think you're living the best version of yourself as a Christian? Do you think this is what God intended for you to do with your voice? Is to take another person who's dead and speak for them and take their legacy and destroy it? Is this what you because you have more in line with Judas than Jesus. You're playing the Judas right now, and he's posthumous. Your decry is saying that Charlie Kirk did this, and this, and that, and what he lived for and what he did was a lie. And are you representing the legacy of your friend to the best of its ability? Yes, I'm trying to find his killer. No, you're not. That's why you're literally hitting every single well. Like, you're literally poisoning every well you come in contact with. You're accusing everybody. But either way, we got to go because my disk is full. I didn't empty my disk cache, so I've got these videos take 50, 75 gigs of information when I do these lives, and I forgot to empty my cache, and I've got probably like 3 terabytes of information that needs to be moved off my computer. I want to say thank you for your donations. Thanks for overdriving tonight. Are we good, Mom?
Mm-hmm. I'll double check one more time. Yes, we're good.
We appreciate the new viewers tonight. We appreciate our YouTube viewers, X viewers, Facebook, Rumble, all of them. We're working on Rumble. I've talked to some of the leadership over at Rumble, and we're saying, guys, we're not growing. Every other channel is crushing. What is going on? I'm going to see if they can help us out. But thanks for Robert. Thanks for stopping by, man. Good to have you guys here. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. It'll be myself, Leroy, and Scott Nugent will be on, and he transitioned from female into male, but is 100% against transitioning and what happens with kids, and he is going to speak about it. He was on the Matt Walsh program, and he's going to be on our program. We're going to have him here tomorrow. God bless. Thanks for watching.
Hang on 1 second. I just got an email. So
you
from
gotta hurry.
Ethan's school.
You got to hurry, honey.
Oh,
because I'm going to crash. No,
okay.
Just go. Just say
Just
it fast.
says, I guess at the beginning of the school year, the school counselors told the students.
Hurry. This isn't fast.
I can't do it fast.
Just tell me what it is, honey.
Basically, Ethan just got nominated for an award at school.
Ethan has been recognized. He helped me pick up my books when I dropped them in the hall. Starfish throwing. So it's called the Starfish Award. Mm-hmm. And when they do something great at school,
they get nominated by their peers.
So a peer nominated my son for that. Thank you, honey. Cool. I wasn't trying to push you up. We're gonna crash. We will lose the whole show, and I won't be able to put it on the podcast.
Okay.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Wait, Matt Howen, it's $2.17.
Will get us up to 400.
400. Thank you, Maddie. We love you. Thank you for the donation. We'll put it in tomorrow. Good night. God bless. Thank you, everybody. See you then. See you tomorrow. 7 o'clock tomorrow. Bye. TRICARE. Don't know yet. I'll tell you later. Got to go. We're going to crash. Love you.
Adjusting transmitter output. This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.